going, people? Okay, we're live on Instagram. We're live on Substack. Let's see if the Substack's working. Open this up and check. Hit that like if you would. Share the show. Do all the stuff I tell you to do to help us out because it's free and it doesn't. There you look at all the hearts flying. There you go. It's a great way to say hello on Substack. It's the HouseSpark Substack Megaworldwide. Subscribe today. Paid is great way to help if you do that kind of thing. If not, just sign up for it. Help me get my numbers up everywhere. Anywhere you drop into these sites, subscribe. Instagram. Come on now. Oh, yes. Everybody. What's happening? How's CSL doing? How's Andrea doing? How's our mods doing? Yes. 1 second. I'm trying to find one other clip before I lose my shite. What the heck is the what? All right, let's get started. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hey, it's HouseSparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/HouseSparks. This is the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. If you doubt me at all, hang in there. Watch with me, if you will. I'm a one-man show with a great backup. That would be the chat room. By the way, before I get there, tomorrow night, Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. If you're in the neighborhood or even in the general driving vicinity, head on down there. It's got some good comedy for you, and it's brand new every time because I improvise the entire show. So boink, boink, boink. And one of our favorite sparklers was moving away and is not now and is going to be sticking around. So I was doing some bits over the last couple of shows as kind of like a send-off because they were at the show, our dear friend Ginger, and now it's going to be sticking around so I can go back to doing what I do best, which is making shit up on the fly. It's called wit, and it's spontaneous, and you don't really see it these days. And I still stand by the fact that I will put any of my totally improv hours off the cuff at Flappers every month, every single month, up against any of the specials you're seeing on Netflix or anywhere else that people allegedly, and I say allegedly because I've seen some of them and I've heard that they put the work in. But I will put my stuff up against theirs any day of the week. Yeah, that's right. So the gauntlet has been thrown. That's right. I'm going to be throwing a lot more gauntlets lately because apparently that is the key to success nowadays is just talking a big game. And since I can pay it off, I'm not really worried about it. So there you go. That said, speaking of talking a great big game, it's the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for them. Lovely folks with us on the regular, dedicated beyond all measure, the greatest group of chatters in the world, the Sparklers. Let me tell you, the glowing terms that people talk about you guys in when you show up in other chat rooms, in Steph's, in Boston Brian's, in Texas Paul's, and at Midas Touch, at all those guys, when the Sparklers show up and I find it funny calling you guys that name because you came up with it yourself, I'll allow it. When the Sparklers show up in a chat room, you guys are the warmest, smartest, most engaged people on the interwebs. And they all tell me that. Every time when I ran into Brett from Midas Touch at the Tom Arnold, Brian Karam thing that I did, one of the first things he brought up to me is how awesome the sparklers are, and they see them when they show up in the chat. So I can't tell you guys. I mean, I'm grateful that you're here anyways. It's not like I can take credit for it. I do think, well, in a couple of areas. There are a couple of areas where I think I can take credit for a little bit of what goes on here, which is, one, I have made you guys completely troll resistant. Very proud of that fact. That in other like you can see it. You can see it in all these different chat rooms that when a troll shows up or something, they're like, eek, you know, you guys handle them better than anybody. It's just a joy-filled dunk fest, and everybody's fearless, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And it's nice to see a group of people taking to heart what I have said for a very long time, which is, you know, no one owns your emotions, especially on the internet. Like, you never, ever give somebody that you have not met personally, don't have a personal interaction with, the reins of your emotional state, ever. And if they assume they should have it right out of the gate, fuck them. And that's their weakness, not yours. So that, I think, it has been a wonderful thing. And I think it's an important addition. I think the occasional Sparksism that I see spread out and about, not just the hashtag Doge is a heist kind of stuff, but, you know, the general Sparksisms that everybody seems to carry on, you know, is a beautiful thing. I don't know what your favorite one is, but feel free to pop it up in the chat room. And a hype train is happening on Twitch right now. Thanks everybody at Twitch. By the way, we got a lot of followers at Twitch, but we need to get our subscribers up, because right now I don't know if I'm in like third place to some terrorist sympathizing lying sap and the people that are in his wake on YouTube. I got to tell you, I get what I say here and do here gets quoted out and about all the time, and you guys see it. You guys see when the original idea spawns right here on this very channel, it flows out there. I see it start to gather steam once I've said it, and you've seen it too. And that's because people watch the show and may not be subscribed. Now, what I'm going to say is, I feel really averse to this whole, like, some people think they're subscribed, but then they get unsubscribed by YouTube and all that kind of. I see people say that shit all the time. I feel like that's a ploy. I feel like that's manipulative. So all I'm going to say is subscribe to the show, and you're an adult. You can manage it yourself, right? You can figure it out on your own. I'm not going to tell you again, you know, or say, oh, it may have been undone in an attempt to get other people. It's just stupid. Please subscribe, help the show, etc., etc., etc. Oh, we hit the 82K. We got those people. All right. Now we got to see if we can hit the 83, because I feel like we got to chip away at this. So maybe we can get 50 subscribers for this show or these clips. I think we can. Now, Hal, you seem quite kind of confident about this idea, and you're damn straight. Because I have been hitting this one particular note, and I'm seeing our fellow liberal and progressive, you know, online YouTubers out there talking about this stuff, and it's definitely, it's nice to see them finally catching on. I saw Luke Beasley covered this today as well, and I've been pushing this for a bunch, but I've been saying, you watch, this Epstein thing is the canary in the coal mine, and these assholes are not buying it. They cannot figure out why Pam Bondi isn't releasing this shit, and they're all grinding their teeth. Well, then we had this thing where, you know, Cash Patel and what's his ass, Bongholio came out and said, yeah, he killed himself. That was that, right? And I said, watch for it. Here it comes. Here it comes. This is going to be the big one, because these assholes can they do have a line. Everybody thinks there's no bottom and there's no line, and for Trump that's true, but for his followers, they've created a line, right? They legitimately said, this is what we're spiking the ball on. He's going to release on day one the Epstein files, right? All that shit, I'm telling you. And the same thing is true, I guess, of the assassination attempts and Butler and then the and again, I'm at the point where the fucking thing at his Florida golf course, which is, by the way, a dump. In basically, it's, the only thing makes it better than Mar-a-Lago is that it's not in the path of landing airplanes. So so that like the fuel and the fucking pollution from all the hundreds of landing airplanes only lands on his golf course when the wind's going north. But other than that, yeah. But so, this is a line from the other. I'm convinced that guy thought he was protecting Trump at this point, and then when he was caught, he's trying to cover his ass or whatever. Like, who knows? He's a lunatic, so who gives a shit, really? But it's very obvious they acted alone, or they would have been more successful, right? No, the deep state doesn't get together to wing you, right? It's just stupid. But that's one of the other elements of this interview that they had with Maria Bada. When they sat down with her, one of the other things they said was these guys acted alone. Lone gunman, no support. We've seen the files. There's no there. Now there. Is this? Did I put this in the? Yeah, I put it in here. Where's the Taliban Joe? Yeah.
You need three things. You need people. You need information, and you need people with information.
That interview. So, all right, level 2 hype train. We can get a level 4 this time. I think we could do it. We haven't done it in a while because I haven't really been pushing it because I've been too busy doing a great show for you guys. I think you can agree. All right, so there's just something so satisfying to watching all of these guys flail and flail. And let me show you. Yeah, where you go. Let me put all these together so you guys can see. This is spiraled. So we've seen Peanut Butter Dickhead a couple of times, right? Talk about this, and we'll touch base with those guys in a moment. But here's Peanut Butter Dickhead. This is their newest video. Are they compromised? Alex Jones calls out Bongino on Trump assassination claims, right? Next one, the Epstein files. What? Look at her face. What? Y'all what? Y'all what? What? Oh shit, my overhead light's on. I'm getting right in the area. Sorry. You what? What's going on? I don't know. Maybe it's that Trump was his best friend for 25 fucking years, dipshit. Maybe that's it. Occam's rubber mallet, dum-dum. All right, anyway, so the Epstein files. What's really stopping the full document release? That Trump's all over the goddamn things? Okay, second, look at this. This is Benny Johnson. You can tell it's Benny Johnson because they use the same Benny Johnson, or should we just call him Weenie Johnson at this point? I think so. Bellend Johnson? Yeah. Barney Johnson? Betty Johnson? Something like that. Anyways, Bellend Johnson over here, cause of death questions, Epstein. I don't know why. Patel's wearing a badge in case you think this is just a random Indian man with a beard yelling. I really, they're going to know that's Bongino, and they're going to know that's Tucker, and they're going to maybe know that's, I think, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, somebody, I don't know who, but they're like, who's the Indian guy? Is Modi man? He knows his viewers, so there you go. So cause of death, right? Cause of death questioned, and it says, internet freaks out as Cash and Bongino declare Epstein suicide. Tucker snaps, Epstein's brother rages, blah, blah, blah. Internet freaks out. Sorry, no, fuck you. Maggots freak out. Right-wing MAGA web is freaking out. We're not freaking out. We're laughing our ass off. As you guys, Houseworks, you also have very animated key. Very, very animated key. I don't know what that means, but I will be very animated. That's the goal. So, the internet is not freaking out. Fuck you. You guys are freaking out. Don't drag us into your personal hell. Okay, then the FBI. This is on Rumble. This is the FBI tried to cover up the investigation. Jones on Patel and Bongino comments on Epstein's death, and then the next one. This is another one. Alex Jones. Alex Jones calls for the creation of an anti-deep state czar to purge globalists. Hey, asshole. What at this rate? What the fuck do you think he's going to do? He's going to find somebody that was like, we got to destroy the deep state, and then he's going to give him the job, and they're going to go, I don't know, couldn't find anything. I've been looking for a deep state. I've been looking all over the place for deep state. You know why they're going to say that? You know why they're going to say that? Chat room, you know why they're going to say that. You know why they're going to say that? Because there's no fucking deep state, dummy. Deep state is just a a fucking Instagram, like modern millennial word for bureaucrat. And bureaucrat doesn't sound sexy. You're like, these are bureaucrats telling us how to live. It's so fucking 70s. Nobody cares. So the deep state, they made that up so that they can tie it to this illusion of this Illuminati, Pentaverate, cabal horseshit they've been selling, because they have no other explanation why when they lose elections, they lose them fair and square, and when they win, they shit the bed and can't actually get anything done. That's why. So must be the deep state is tying my hand. You mean like who? Like the judiciary? Well, they're not the deep state. People are challenging it in court, and he's losing. That's not the deep state, motherfucker. That's the judiciary. You know who the judge is. You know who the plaintiffs are. You know who your lawyers are. If your lawyers lose, they're fucking losers. I don't know what else to tell you. But it isn't the deep state. The deep state are people we have no idea who these people are. Like, let me see. Like the DOGE employees, for example. Unelected, appointed, not people who haven't taken an oath to protect the Constitution, getting between what the voters want and what they said they want and what they want, and what the goals of the people inside government are. That's what that is. Rich people trying to have their way with the government in spite of what they've been told to do. So you run on this idea, we're going to cut the budget $2 trillion. That was the Elon Musk sales pitch for Doge. $2 trillion. Well, they got in there. They were able to look basically everywhere, plant little fucking pieces of malware all through the Treasury and the Social Security system, right? And then what happens? Sorry, we thought there'd be a lot more fraud or whatever. Just see you later. Just walking out with fucking hard drives under their arms because it was a heist. Because hashtag Doge is a heist. Doge is a fucking heist. Always was. That's all it will ever be. And even people are waking up to it, and Musk is finally getting testy about it when people just ask him about what a failure it is. Because, not just because it's a failure and he feels weak in the face of his own failure. It's not just that. It's the fact that he's weak and feels like a failure, and people are calling him out, and they're questioning his dick size on national television all the time. But on top of that, at some point, they might realize that it was always a rig. It was always a scam. It was always a heist. Because if people go, yeah, nobody can be that big of a fuck up, that overt about it, right? So, and then just go away after all that, after getting access to every American's private data. They can't be that stupid. Maybe there's something else going on. And then, God forbid, they lose the election next time. They lose the House or the Senate or both, because people can go to jail and people can change sides and people can do all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying that if they shit the bed like it looks like they're going to, and they are and they continue to, it's not going to go well for them in the elections. We're already flipping seats and shit. So the turnaround on this, these guys, the maggots, the canary in the coal mine issue for them was the Epstein files. And they're already enraged about it. Tangential to that was the assassination attempts. This was clearly Biden and the deep state. And look, I'm here to tell you, if it was the deep state and it actually existed, he'd be dead. If there was really a cabal running things, there's no Illuminati in the world that nicks someone and just moves on. They don't hit your ear. Like, if that kind of an organization exists, if there's a fucking Illuminati and they're what you say they are, they couldn't miss. Right? They couldn't miss. Or they aren't what you say they are. In which case, why the fuck would I be scared of them? And the reason they want you scared of the deep state, and I'll end on this and we'll get to the videos. The reason they want you scared of the deep state or caught up in the deep state and all this stuff is because when you focus on this amorphous, non-existent blob of bullshit, and this also fits into sometimes when Democrats or people on our side talk about the 1% or lobbyists or whatever, it creates this disengaged, amorphous fucking blob, right? that you can focus on, so that you don't focus on the people who are actually the issue. Elected politicians that got into office legitimately. Assholes voted them in or let them get voted in, or people who made it in there and turned or were lying themselves and had flim-flammed their own voters. That's who's really doing the damage. Donald Trump and the people he brought in were elected into that office, and that's what they're doing. It's not some like weird thin layer of faceless CIA agents running every fucking thing, okay? You want to know who the deep state is? I'm the deep state. That's right. Just lay it on me. Just focus all that fire on me. It's my fucking fault. I'm the deep state. I may not hit bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides, let me tell you. And if you want a deep state to blame, just get it the fuck over with. Just blame me, and it's Hal Sparks is the deep state. And then go back to the people you actually elected to office or were elected in your state because you're like, well, I'm in a red district and it really doesn't matter and my vote doesn't really count. So a couple of, while they were building steam to get this kind of like overwhelming Magat seat, I just thought it was a wash for regular Republicans. It didn't show up. And if I and everybody like me hadn't bought into that bullshit, this district would either be purple and have a Republican in it that has to listen to people, which is the bane of the current Republicans right now. They call them rhinos, but they're actually people who have to get elected in a real district. You would either have one of those people in, right? You'd either have one of those people in there, or you'd have a fucking Democrat. And let me tell you something. There are so many districts in this country that should just have a Democrat in office. But the only reason they don't is because either a large enough group of people think, well, I'm in a red district because it's always been that way and we can't turn it that way, so what does it matter? And so they sit back. They sit it out. They ignore it, okay? Or the occasional case like fucking Cenk fucking Uyghur in the district that covers Antelope Valley in California, running as a Democrat, even though he really isn't one, against a woman Democrat who had a shot at winning, focusing all of his fire on her, ignoring the Republicans, ignoring what they're doing, except in the most abstract, we need a fighter in Washington bullshit story, focusing all of it on her, just enough to win, 5,000, spent $1 million, got 5,000 votes, but was enough to like chip into her lead enough to allow the Republican to win. And there's a male Republican in that seat right now. That's what you get. That's what's happening. While people are focusing on the fucking deep state and the moneyed interests and people floating around behind the scenes, and that's definitely like lobbyists are an issue, no question. But while you're focused on that 20% problem, the 80% problem is the fact that we either are chasing our own tail or biting our own backs, or we're giving ground that they have not earned. Other than that, I have no opinion. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe. Yeah. Somebody just said, Hal, we can focus on more than one problem at a time. I completely agree. But there is not a single elected Democrat in this country that is a problem. Not a fucking one. Not on that level. They don't even fucking chart. Democrats, anybody in the DNC, you got right now, because the threat is so big, you got one job. Turn red districts purple, purple districts blue. If you try to do anything else, fuck off. So says the deep state. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna be a fucking thorn in your butt cheek. Come on now. Can we see kitties today? We might. I think Summer might bring one of the kitties by if you guys are good and if you like and subscribe. All right. So, yeah. So I needed to find one more thing before we jump into this craziness, because in the essence of all this, oh, I know where I put it. Never mind. Shut up, Glenn Greenwald, you dipshit. I was very smart. I put it in my Notion. And now I just have to search for it. Let's see, where's the search thing on this crazy thing? Okay. There we go. Epstein Central. Excellent. Okay. Let's see. There's this one. Yeah. So there's two of these. One is, because when it's just Alex Jones, this is we're going to overlap these because it's this is meaningful. I don't know why. Again, sending data, and hopefully we're back up in 3, 2, 1. Almost there. Almost there. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Am I back up? It knocked me out. I'm back? Okay, good. Right now, it's kicking out. There seems to be, I think really the issue is Restream's thangamadodger. Hold on. Stop what you're doing. I gotta wait for it to just wake up to its stuff. Do this, and we'll close this. Quit out of this. Make sure I'm not just using up. I don't think I'm using up all the RAM in this thing ever. So it's got a ton, so it shouldn't be a problem. It just takes OBS in the Mac. It's always been an issue. We had to switch over to this because the PC was being a dick, and now the Mac is being a dick. So we might have to switch back. But then whatever. Yes, I should defrost it for 5 minutes in the microwave. It's a good idea. Hold on. I'm gonna. Pardon me. I will be back in 1 second. All right. Should be back. We're sending data. I'll wait till we're back. I beg your pardon. I restarted the software, so as you do. 3, 2, something or other. 3, 2, 1. I'll wait for the chat to catch up and just hang out. We're just doing our thing. It's all right. There's all these gremlins in here.
I had a beat off.
I love lamp.
You know what I mean? Hey, we're back. Look at that. And I think we're back on Insta and on, let me know if you could, in the Discord, if we are back up and running on Substack and all these things. We should be. It should be all right. Usually it reconnects very, yeah. Yeah, okay. For sure. The best part of the thing is, okay, restart successful. See you on Twitch. Excellent. Okay, cool. I think we're up and running. Should be good. Now, Gremlin Cities. Yeah, Gremlin City. We might have to move to proprietary software soon. Much as I love OBS, I think there's an issue. But that's how it is. The dick is being a dick? It does. It has a tendency to do that. Yeah. What's on the chain? It's my it's the shield of Luch, which is the Celtic god of polymaths. Don't get me started. I just gave a monologue and then it shut the whole internet down. I broke the internet with that monologue I just gave. That's what happened. I mean, I could blame it as much as I want. Get me here in Scotland. Yes, please. Hi, Nigel. Facebook's back up. We're all good. Now, yep, we're good. So let's just jump ahead. So what I was saying was Epstein's the line. The assassination attempts are the secondary line. And then they might just start catching on to a bunch of the bullshit. They might start going, wait a minute, maybe this is all bullshit. Maybe there's something about this. Maybe he wasn't telling me the truth after all.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
So in the meantime, this is what we're seeing a bunch of. And by the way, I don't know why Alex Jones is taking his thumbnail pictures on the shitter. I don't know. This is his, I don't know. This is clearly constipation. Bad constipation. Bad constipation. All right. So, and then he has Roger Stone, who I don't know how he managed to why do all these dudes have such fucked up faces. It's really odd. Really odd. I know, Alex Jones is younger than me, too. Like, years younger than me. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, it's fucking creepy. Okay, so anyways, this is his response. Hold on one second. I think, can I sign into this stupidity? Okay, hold on. This is gonna. Why is that not using my? All right, there we go. Other passwords. There we go. Yeah, that's the one. Let's see. Maybe I. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, we'll get through the ads on this shit. Hold on. Back up. So.
What is the function of the Supreme Court of the United States?
It's
In
a
other
great
words,
building. It's
what
meant
is
to be
its job?
What's its job?
Where does the government get its power?
Prager, and we'll
The answer, of course, is from the Constitution.
That's right.
But if you
okay, here you go. So now this starts off. This is the what in the hell? The hell is going? Oh, because it pauses like that when you pause it. That's weird. This is how all the videos that everybody are looking up about Alex Jones start off, because he starts with this clip. Now you'll notice, you'll have a moment here where you'll go, "Who the fuck is Jerry Epstein?" He doesn't exist. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a Jerry Epstein out there somewhere, and I feel bad for the guy because this dumb motherfucker thinks he's dead. So here you go.
Put this: Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Jerry Epstein. Name 3 things that don't hang themselves.
Right, so that's the running joke that's been around for a long time. Jeffrey, sit down, Jeffrey. Now, why Bill Cosby uses the name Jeffrey as as the kid on the plane? So there's a young child on a plane, and that's being ordered around, and Bill Cosby uses the name Jeffrey. We'll figure that out later. But anyways.
That's what the American people think.
It would take hours.
To scrape the dead skin cells off of my face.
Go over how ridiculously obvious the murder of Jeffrey Epstein was in that federal jail in New York.
Asshole, your show is 3 hours long every day. Which would explain the constipation, I think. Maybe do your show standing up. I made that decision. One of the best decisions I made for my show, because sitting for that long, especially in high intensity situations, is not particularly good for you. Secondly, standing up, better for your posture, better for your health overall. I'd never done a job like this that was this consistent in one space in my life. I mean, you think you're in a cubicle, but I stand here a good, 6-7 hours a day. So I stand up, right? I think that's healthy. This is a mess.
I mean, the coroner said his neck was broken in 3 spots. It would
maybe he bounced.
Gorilla to do that. And the cameras all turned off magically.
I don't think magically. I don't think nobody thinks a magician killed him. He was killed by sorcery. So just some like weird Marvel villain just doing like this, and there's like little sparks flying out of their fingers, and then the lights go out and the cameras shut off.
Now we're learning that they put nitrous oxide in from good sources and made the guards pass out.
So you learned this from good sources, or it's really primo nitrous oxide?
This was a state-level hit because Epstein was threatening to go public.
Okay, state-level hit. Who was president when he was killed? State level. And he sure as shit doesn't mean New York State.
Thought he was getting out soon. You've seen the files. The files you were given?
That's in reference to Bongholio saying it, yeah.
Give me a break. There's 3 things don't hang themselves.
All right, and then he tells the same joke that we just saw in the clip.
Christmas tree lights, drywall, and Jeffrey Epstein, as Senator Kennedy rightfully said. Here's a clip of Cash and Dan Bongino making fools out of themselves.
Can we just enjoy this for a second? Think about this for a second. Is this the video this dumb motherfucker thought he would be making 3 months ago? In his rented fucking studio that he has to rent from his dad because he had to put all of his assets in his parents' names and other business names so he didn't have to give them to the people that he tormented after their toddlers were shredded with gunfire. Piece of shit. So, yeah.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
Look, and I just love the fucking pull up his ass stiffness of Bongholio, too.
He killed himself. You want me to... I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
So who's in charge at the New York FBI field office? Who's withholding Epstein docs from the Attorney General? James Dennehy is running the show there. There he is. This is the guy who emailed his whole staff to dig in after Trump took office. And don't forget that James Comey's daughter is an assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. She worked on the Epstein and Maxwell cases.
And she single-handedly got rid of the CCTV tapes herself that would have been recorded and stored during the presidency of Donald John Trump.
She's kind of knee-deep in this.
Kind of knee-deep in this. She's an assistant, like, DA or whatever, amongst probably a staff of 25 fucking people. What, 24 true believers in her, and they couldn't stand up to her? Shit, make her the head of the FBI if she's that good.
Epstein was facing sex trafficking charges in Lower Manhattan. Where's all that paperwork? The FBI seized...
It's on Pam Bondi's desk. How dare you question her?
Surveillance.
By the way, I think this is like the square of shit is on, like he's just lifting it straight from shitter.
Videos, banking records, file cabinets, and photographs from all of Epstein's properties in New Mexico, the Virgin Islands, Palm Beach, and in New York. The Justice Department also gave Epstein a sweetheart non-prosecution deal.
Oh, my God. The Justice Department? You mean Alex fucking Acosta, who Trump made Department of Labor Secretary of Labor?
15 years ago. Where are those files? The Bureau of Prisons. Where are those files? You remember where Epstein killed himself?
Yeah. I remember Trump was president when he was arrested, when the raid happened, when all these files were gathered in one place. And, yeah, you have his fucking phone number.
I asked Bill Barr about that. Why
would you ask Bill Barr? Oh, right, because he worked for Trump and he was, yeah.
Seemed to go wrong that night.
When I first heard all the information and all the coincidences here, I was suspicious.
What were the coincidences? I mean, those were a lot of coincidences.
Well, one of the cameras was out.
Right.
He was supposed to have a cellmate. The cellmate left. They didn't replace the cellmate.
If the cellmate had been there, would he have been choked to death, or would the guy have just gotten into a fight with him and beat him to death, and that would have been that? The guy would have been a hero.
And the guards who were supposed to check him every half hour didn't check him.
My EMT source said he was on the scene immediately to pull Epstein's body out to the morgue. And when he got to the cell, he saw 7 people there touching Epstein's body and moving stuff around.
Yeah, I got news for you. EMT, we often refer to them as first responders. In a situation like that, they aren't. They're at least second, if not third, because there are staff in the place. So if they're doing, if somebody's doing compressions on a guy or trying to revive him or any of that kind of shit, it's going to be the medical staff there or the guards. They'll be the first on scene to deal with the thing, right? Just fucking stupid.
I mean, just the body language of Bongino and Patel is just gut-wrenching.
Gut-wrenching. You noticed?
I mean, I guess it's kind of endearing that they're not good at BSing.
I didn't realize Kanye and his buddies were. I don't know. How did Kanye get into? Is he in just everything? Right.
I know what the tactic is. They just say that's a dead horse. Can't be proven one way or the other. Move on.
Yeah, his voice is gross. That's what you call acid reflux, folks. That's a lot of shit diet and drinking and smoking and not moving a whole lot, and then allegedly taking what Trump calls the fat shot. Suck or a gullible asshole have been lying. There's so many ways to fill that in.
Why couldn't they just say they're investigating it?
Why? That's a good idea. Why? Because it gives Trump diarrhea. How about that? How about every time somebody says we need to look further into Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump races to the bathroom? That's why, stupid. Oh God, this one's for you. This one's for you, Alex.
Here I am like an idiot.
I mean, come on, guys.
Come on, guys. Just blame it on the deep state like you did before you got the job.
Come on, please. There are a lot of amazing.
There are a lot of things you can take if you want to have as much hair and as much lead in your pencil as I do, and this sultry singing voice. Okay, hold on. God, we have to jump ahead to this. You don't feel like a dick with those bottles in front of you, just hawking that shit like a fucking snake oil salesman? Really? You don't feel like we're shooting an ad today. This is the primo stuff. I'm gonna. Fuck, he probably bought himself a house in Greece with this, so he probably has no shame whatsoever. Ultimate fish oil. Pain MD. Yeah. Made with real Aztec livers. Another winner. Jennifer and Egg 2022, or Egg 22 are, these are trustworthy sources. Now, granted, Jennifer, no ups, no downs. Egg 22 has gotten 3 thumbs up, so people trust Egg 22, and so can you. What an asshole. That was the end of it. That's the tail end of it. He's just like, come on, guys. All right, so let's get to the follow-up. So Peanut Butter Dickhead and his guys are reacting to Alex Jones, and there's part of this. They show part of it, and they show a later piece of it. Yes, Egg 22 is a good egg, totally. But this one's long, so I'll skip around in it. But I want you to see the fucking wig out from these dum-dums.
Dan Bongino drops truth bomb. Vinny, it's a truth bomb. In FBI's assassination investigation, he's sitting with Kash Patel. They're asking about Epstein. Have we reacted to this yet?
I don't know.
Rob,
we did do the Epstein.
We did.
This is a separate. It's from the same interview, and it happened on the same day, but it got overshadowed by the.
Jesus Christ! How does this guy walk into a post office, since he looks like every letter bomber on the FBI's 10 most wanted list?
Clip. This is where they talk about the.
Jesus, where does he shop? At Pat Gray's outlet? Pat Gray's basement?
13th shooting, attempted assassination of Donald Trump by Thomas Crooks. And this is where Dan Bongino says, if there was anything there that was bigger than just one guy doing it, I would tell you.
Play this clip.
You know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case.
Okay, first of all, what a weirdo. Secondly, let's start with not kidding. Nobody thinks he's kidding. That's not the point. They don't think he's just joshing about this. I guess what he's trying to avoid saying is Kash isn't BSing you, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, the fact that this idea that he's not joking, it just points to the fact that Bongholio is an idiot and is trying to, turd polish right here. And each one of them is trying to fill in the gaps for the other in this untenable situation that they know you and I don't believe anything they say anyways. So I'm not going to take it for fucking granted. but it doesn't hurt me that they're not getting to the essence of this, because I don't expect them to, because they work for Jeffrey Epstein's best fucking friend. So, like, you and I already know this. But the maggots are like, what the hell's going on? The betrayal.
One is actively in court right now. So out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that.
He means the one that's alive.
However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a
There. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Bongholio.
Oh, hello there. Service agent. And my personal friendship, as a director does with the president. Give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have.
I know why. Because he staged it. Like, logically, sensibly, if you found out something that this was actually a PR stunt, that what happened in Butler was actually a setup that Trump's own people did, that people around him did, not the left, not the deep state, not Biden, not the fucking Iranians, but Trump's own people set this up. Logically, that would be a fan-fucking-tastic reason for you and this asshole to, once you get that job, change your tune. That's exactly why. That's the logical reason. It might not, I'm not saying it's right, but that's a logical conclusion. It is absolutely a logical conclusion. Here's why. You said, oh my God, somebody tried to kill the president. This is terrible. It can't just be this guy. It's got to be a group of people behind him that were helping him do this, and he was coordinating this with other people. And then you get in and you find out he was. But he was coordinating with Trump's people, and that they were the ones that set him up, and they were the ones that took him out. And Trump knew it. And there was, like, they had a fucking shot of the ketchup packet that he had in his goddamn pocket. And they know for a fact that it was a piece of glass from the teleprompter that hit him. So he doesn't want you to talk about that. That logically would be a fantastic reason why both of you assholes would get in there, see the case, and clam the fuck up. I am not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying that's really fucking easy to conclude. In the absence of evidence that I have access to, that would be the logical conclusion for how supposedly the deep state came for him and was unsuccessful.
If you can think of one, there isn't. In some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there.
Yeah, you stupid tinfoil hat motherfucker. That's what he's saying.
Oh, people, I get it. I understand.
Nah, you don't. Because you were bullshitting these people and selling them a bill of goods, and then when you got in there, you look like you've been taken by the deep state. And you know what? I love it. It couldn't happen to a nicer Bongholio who is looking for DP for his bunghole. Are you threatening me? Yeah, Bongholio, you enjoy every second of MAGA calling you a fucking liar. Teepee.
Not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Okay, Vinny.
Okay,
thoughts. And by the way, I got a clip.
This is the dude who flips the fuck out. This is the guy who's like, from a logical, I wear a suit jacket, so I can talk about this in a sort of a disassociated sociopath kind of a way. And then this dude over here on the other side of Peanut Butter Dickhead is there for mop up. He's like, no, I love these guys. They're my bros. So whatever they say goes.
By Alex Jones, I want to show afterwards his reaction, and another clip of before and after, but I want to go to you
And Rob,
first.
that was in reference to which assassination attempt?
The
Thomas Crooks.
July 13th, Thomas Crooks, Butler, Pennsylvania.
Okay, I don't know about you guys. I saw a couple of videos, body language professionals.
Yeah, I saw a couple videos. Body language professionals are telling me these guys are full of shit, which they are, but they always have been. So you don't get to pat yourself on the back for finally realizing that Cash Patel and Dan Bongholio are full of shit.
What he said about the Epstein thing, and by the way, there are clips of Dan Bongino going in on everything and then now it just seems very calm.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? What's up with that? Does anybody? I don't know what that could be. What could be? Could there be any? What could be, logically, simply, what would be the reason for that? I mean, you know, if Trump staged the whole thing himself and it was all a big fucking production and he was never actually in harm's way, and they'd even gone so far as to, like, I don't know, swap out the ammo in the guy's weapon. He had no idea because he was a dipshit, and they just killed him, and you know, never the twain shall meet, and they confiscated the evidence. So what are you going to know about that stuff? And then he would be the one to look into it. So you know.
Seems like he doesn't want to be saying the words that are coming out. Is this it, Rob? Can we play this, Rob?
Yep.
Is it okay, Pat?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Listen.
Oh yeah, this is what's floating around on fucking Twitter, by the way. This is they're like they're all of like WTF Twitter is just grinding on this shit right now, and it is fucking glorious.
That Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, I want you, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein?
There's one other guy you keep forgetting to mention. There's a guy, and I forget what his name is. But his name sounds like old dumpster. I'll remember it later.
Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a...
Entrepreneurial? You mean they see the cha-ching and talking about Jeffrey Epstein? They're like, dude, there's a lot of money to be made in this. We could build a small, like, real estate firm based on this. Maybe we do a tour of all the Epstein properties. I'm just saying.
Deal.
He killed himself. You want me to get... I've seen that.
Okay, I know. Listen,
he killed himself.
I'm Pat.
That was them laughing, by the way. I'd like to remind you. Think about who these fuckers are.
Hung out with. I respect Dan Bongino immeasurably, but
I think we can measure it now. I think if it's shortened at all, and it seems to, I think we could say that it's well within the measurable arena. You know, we could set up some sort of a scale. I would like you to point on the graph where the Bongholio touched you.
When it comes, let's put the Epstein stuff to the side. You mean to tell me Thomas Crooks, that case, just some white dude figured? By the way, flew a drone.
But why white? What does that mean? Look, dude. If anybody could get a gun close to Trump, it'd be a white dude. You're not gonna have a brown person that's armed get anywhere near Trump. But a white dude walking around with an AR-15, you're like, what's up, bro? Like, all he has to do is wear a fucking American flag bandana and carry a Trump flag, and he hang the flag from the tip of the gun. He could walk in using it as a prop, and they're like, he's not gonna do anything.
Nobody said nothing. He was walking around. There's footage of him pointing and doing this. Police officers everywhere. He gets on the roof. People see him. There's Secret Service people in the building, okay? He does all that. He has 6 cell phones on him. They get off. He's allegedly put off a...
I don't think he had 6 cell phones on him. I think the idea was that he had 6 cell phones in total, and there were a couple of extra ones in his car, and he had multiple burners because he had planned other shit. So, I mean... How much is a fucking burner phone, or a used fucking Android?
The parents are basically protected, and you...
What? Basically? They didn't buy him the shit. He's a grown man.
Want me to believe that just this random white kid set up in the perfect position, and they all lied about the slanted roof, and out of all that, let's say even, God forbid, Trump was...
Out of all that, all right.
And shot, and he died there, what would have...
Yeah, I want you to believe that. Yeah, sorry. I want you to believe that. I mean, I don't think you will, but I want you to believe that. You know why I want you to believe that? Because then you might come to the conclusion that you've been full of shit this entire goddamn time. And not only have people been selling you a line of bullshit. You have been passing on secondhand bullshit over every fucking topic that you guys cover. Okay. All right.
Kim Cheadle would have stepped down and got fired and case closed. Okay, I do not believe you. I understand they're in a different position, Tom, and there's certain things you can't say, but if you think us, the American people, are going to believe that this lone gunman BS story is true.
It just, they get so close. They get so close to realizing. They're almost there. But they're never going to hit it. It's amazing. It's like watching somebody go for, like, you can't roll a gutter ball every fucking time. You can't never hit a pin, right? And then you, again, and it goes towards the, and you're like, oh shit, that looks like it's actually going towards the 1-3 or the 1-2 where you can hit it. This might be a strike. Oh shit. And then it just fucking, for some reason, just gets anywhere near the first pin, just careens off into the fucking bin, into the bin on the side. Might got scratch again. I don't know. Market 0.
You have another thing coming, all right? Period. And the Epstein thing, Pat?
You got another thing coming. Oh yeah.
Give a damn. Okay, killed himself, whatever. I don't believe the noise. Who gives a shit? What about the 10,000s of hours of young girls, of children getting raped and whatever? Those people are still walking around. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You have the footage.
Okay, so this is, and I want you to pay attention to this. This is the essence of what is driving this fucking guy crazy. And let me tell you something about Vinny. I don't like this guy. I think he's full of shit. I think he's been selling anti-Democrat, anti-Biden shit for so long, he doesn't even know what side of the fucking bread the butter goes on. But he does have the right fixation for this story. And it is why he and a bunch of people like him are never going to let go of it. And that is the idea that these guys who engaged in this shit with Epstein are still walking around and nobody stops being a pedophile. So, they're out there. So as long as we're not prosecuting people, they're still victimizing people. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Not that they're out there. It's a good thing to focus on. It's a good thing. I agree. It's the exact same reason why you never want to throw an innocent person in jail or railroad somebody in a case just to get a conviction. Because if you try someone and find them guilty for a crime they didn't commit, not only is that bad for them, but the person who did it is still out there stabbing. Understand? So there's a reason why you want the judicial system to work properly. Secondly, if this bothers you, it's never going to go away. There's no quick remedy for the fact that there are fucking pedophiles who worked with Jeffrey Epstein who are out and about and we don't know their names and they're arguably still victimizing people, right? I would also like to remind you that these assholes all shit on the Me Too movement entirely. So again, at least he's defensive of children. He's never going to get to adult women don't have it coming or some nonsense, whatever that is. Don't believe these bitches, wherever his brain is on that, God knows. But at least he's on the kid thing. And because he's locked in on that, you can't move him. And you shouldn't. Right? Yeah. He's never going to put together that Alan Dershowitz and Donald Trump were the closest people. Fucking Noam fucking Chomsky. What the fuck? You know what Noam Chomsky's... You guys remember this, chat room? Real quick. You guys remember what Noam Chomsky said when they asked him about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? Zuckerberg said he only met him once, and he didn't like it, and he never wanted to see the guy again, and he was introduced by Elon Musk, right? Who else? Bill Gates says he regrets hanging out with him and all this kind of stuff. You know what Noam Chomsky said? None of your fucking business. He said, none of your business. They asked him about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He said, none of your business. This is a linguistics professor. This is a guy whose entire life is about language. And his response, Jesus Christ, his response to why did you do business with Jeffrey Epstein? By the way, after he was arrested. Why did you do this? He goes, well, I did some I had some financial transactions about transferring some money, and I contacted him, and we had dinner a few times, and none of your business. Wow. Wow. Yeah, like, again, Google it. Like, it's the weirdest fucking response of almost anybody they've talked to about this, was Noam Chomsky saying, mind your own business. Or none of your business, I think it was. Hold on. Well, look at it real quick. Hold on. Chomsky, Epstein, none. Whoops, I can type. It came out when whoops, there you go. Yeah. Of all fucking people, man. Renowned academic Noam Chomsky told the Wall Street Journal that his meetings with Jeffrey Epstein are none of your business. Do these guys know that Bondi was out of Florida? No. Whew. It's everybody's business. Yeah, but Al Franken had to resign over, by the way, a post picture that he did not touch the woman in it, making a joke about it because she was gropey on the trip and she grabbed the country artist or whoever it was that was performing by the ass when she walked up on stage. She full cheeked him, and Al Franken makes a joke about that on the plane ride back when she's passed out and suddenly he gets bounced. Video comes out later of her grabbing this dude's ass, like practically shoving her middle finger up his butthole, and nothing happens to her. But, you know, double standards being a thing. Don't get distracted. Chomsky said, none of your business. What the fuck? All right. So this guy is fixated, as dumb as he is, on the right thing. And morally, Vinny, I applaud you. Yes, it is wrong that these children were victimized and that the men that victimized them are still out and about. And as a Democrat, if anybody I previously liked is caught up in this shit, fuck them. I don't fucking care. Send them to jail. Not hard at all. Okay? I'm not going to, because my beliefs and my ethics aren't based on who I believe carried them out, but my ethics themselves. So if somebody pretends to be on my side and then they turn out to be a complete skis, I don't care. Right? So he's, you know, but when it comes to children, that's a hard line. That's easy. And he's sticking to it. The rest of the guys are trying to fucking tap dance around it.
They're still in society and they're still walking around. Mm-hmm. So how many more hours are you going to watch while these people walk free?
Okay, so that's his thing about Pam Bondi. Like, we have to review all the footage because of the victims and blah, blah, blah. And again, like, we have to sift through this stuff, right? So, you know, like, how much sifting do you have to go through? Are they having a hard time finding a video that Trump isn't in? Is that what the sifting is about?
I don't understand. Make a fucking arrest. Give us one person. One.
All they want is one person. Well, they can't because I guess he can't be tried in state court while he's president of the United States. Oops.
I don't care if it's Bill Gates. I don't care if it's Bill. I don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, it's Bill. I don't care if it's Bill Gates or Bill Clinton. I don't give a shit. You do give a shit. If it's Bill Barr, whose dad gave Epstein his first fucking job at a co-ed or an all-girls school teaching physics, which he did not have a degree in, or Donald Trump, who has never lived more than a 9-minute cab ride from fucking Jeffrey Epstein's house. Yeah, this dude, like, right, he's beat red. Like, this is how you know this is sincere. I don't know why. I do know why. But there is this weird wall where they just can't say Trump's fucking name.
Give us somebody.
Tom.
Yeah, I agree. Give us Donald John Trump. Epstein's best friend for 25 fucking years. The only friend we've known Trump to ever have besides Roy Cohn. He's only had 2 good friends that we know of that he spent any type of time with, partying and hanging out like a real social animal. And in both cases, they fucked kids. Both of those guys.
I agree. I don't need to speculate. You know why? Because Pam Bondi walked up to a microphone and said there are 10,000 or what?
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of videos and clips, and we have to be careful about the identities. So I'm not out there on the with a tin hat crazy train.
Tin foil hat. I don't know why.
I listen to Pam Bondi, and I respect Pam Bondi, but I want her to finish up and put some dates and timelines on what she came out and she told us.
Yep.
Where is this? And I also want to see if there are people there that are... See, I'm not as worried about a congressman...
I think so. I think I could bring Vinny over to this side. They'll never let me on this fucking show. Are you kidding me?
Went to Epstein Island and had sex with a girl who was 17.
Look, let me explain something to you. If you're a Democrat who looks like they do push-ups at all, they're not going to invite you on these shows. They will bring you on if you look like a soy boy. That's the rule. You have to look like physically diminutive or weak to them. That doesn't mean you are. This is their stereotype, not mine. But this is why. None of them are going to bring on somebody who looks like me on these shows. For real. Just understand that.
Not 19. I worry less about that. I want to know where are the people that were part of the feeder network that are running networks of this because they were in business and they're probably still in business trafficking kids.
Oh, wait. Yeah. So hold on. Because is this the part
that went to Epstein?
Yeah. Oh. I don't care about a congressman who thought a girl was 19 and she was 17. Matt Gaetz. Let's just start with this. This is them covering for Matt Gaetz. This is them cleaning up after Matt Gaetz. I don't give a shit if Matt Gaetz sex trafficked a 17-year-old. I only care about 12-year-olds. If a girl is raped and she's 16 or 17, if she looks older, and there are thousands of them, because that was Epstein's taste, by the way, all these high school girls from these poor like trailer park areas. And again, this fucking bullshit story. Trump and Epstein only had one like breakup, and it was about a piece of property. It was never about some girl that worked at Mar-a-Lago that Epstein hit on, that was a daughter of a member or any of that shit. That story's everywhere, and it's a lie. But even if I gave it to you, even if I said that's a real story, that's how it really happened, all it tells me is that Donald Trump didn't give a shit about underage girls being, like pimped by Ghislaine Maxwell and servicing fucking Jeffrey Epstein. He didn't care about that. He cared about members' daughters. If you did it like, like to girls at these fucking local West Palm Beach high schools, he didn't give a shit. It didn't matter. He knew about it for years. And he didn't care. He only cared when it was a rich, member of the club's daughter. If you even believe that story, it's morally reprehensible. Again, that's what I've said. If you don't have Trump derangement syndrome, there's something wrong with you.
See, I'm not as worried about a congressman that went to Epstein Island and had sex with a girl who was 17, not 19.
That's them whitewashing Matt Gaetz, who they are all also friends with.
I worry less about that. I want to know where are the people that were part of the feeder network that are running networks of this because they were in business and they're probably still in business trafficking kids to God knows where.
Yeah.
Talk to Eric. Talk to Don Jr. Ask them.
Those are the people that I want stopped because this was a criminal enterprise. There was a constant flow.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to put on my tin hat and get all freaked.
Tin foil hat. I don't know why that bothers me, but it's really odd.
Freaked out on one thing or the other, or whether a senator did this with somebody or Prince Andrew. They called him Randy Andy. He already had a reputation. There's nothing more to the story of Andrew.
Jesus Christ. You know why they're talking about Andrew right now is because the only other person to bring up at that level is Trump. I'm an American. I don't give a fuck what royals do. If they try it here, and they should go to jail if they do something like that. But we fought a Revolutionary War, so I don't have to give a shit about royals.
That this guy was an entitled royal who was just basically humping his way around the world.
Right. Now do Trump.
I'm not worried about that. I want to know, where are these children now? And I want to know, where are the people that were trafficking them in? Because that's where it is.
They're in office.
Yep. And exactly. And unlike Tom, I used to drink. I haven't drank. On May 31st is going to be my 2-year mark, right?
Good for you, Vinny. September 25th of this year will be my 55th year of no alcohol and drugs. Yeah. I'm doing pretty good. Longest sober run that's not a Mormon. I'm very proud of myself.
I have urges, but not like that. These pedophiles that are on this camera, they don't stop being pedophiles. You don't recover from being, you're not a recovering pedophilia guy. You know what I mean?
A recovering pedophilia guy. I think that would be a pedophile. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, that's horseshit. Those people are still walking
Here's
around.
Alex Jones.
And
Here's
they know
Alex
who they
Jones.
are. They know
Watch
where they
this.
are.
Watch it.
Look at this. Look how beat red he is. That's not going away, kids. That's the important part. Whether he wakes up to the fact that that Epstein and Trump were fucking best friends is immaterial. He can't let it go. And eventually that realization has to land. At some point, he fights it off. You see him do it on the show all the fucking time.
Tell us, oh, we've closed it. He acted alone. We have the files. If you're going to crap on me or piss on me, don't rub it in and don't tell me it's raining, okay? Please. Can you not, just as a PR issue, will you stop it? Kosh and Bongino?
No, they can't. They can't, because they have to settle all these things, because the only other conclusion, if you keep digging, is Trump, and they've got to stop digging. They've got to. This is all about not digging any further, because the more you dig, the more you realize Trump is behind all of it, and you guys will collapse if you realize this. All right, so.
I know, obviously, Dan, nobody's smarter than you.
Ouch. You've obviously never seen him read.
But if you want to go from being very popular to very unpopular, and thus hurt Trump as well, just keep going. Keep going, tough guy.
You got to enjoy it. You have to enjoy where, like, again, you have to understand, this is not the conversation these assholes thought they would be having in May of 2025, on November 5th.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there.
He's breathing.
I'm getting angry.
Alex Jones.
And it's very insulting to the American people to say Epstein killed himself. No one buys it.
I don't feel insulted. I don't care either way. I just hope he's actually dead, but and it would have been better if we had a trial so people could have seen more of it. That's certainly the concern or whatever. But I think the bad part was electing a guy who was best friends with him for 25 years and a woman who was AG in Florida, the state that gave him a sweetheart deal, after Alex Acosta gave him a deal.
It's very insulting to say that brainwashed classic mind control operative acted alone. Please stop.
Okay, now they're talking about the now he's talking about crooks.
The one that trained, where the federal law enforcement trained, all that. His cell phone all around the federal building in D.C., the FBI headquarters. Huh? Stop it.
No, I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't think they will.
If you're not going to do anything about it, just shut up about it then.
Oh, this is good. This is their own dude. This is, you gotta understand, none of us actually thought Trump was going to get to the bottom of fucking anything except the pile, the well of morality. Maybe he'll get to the bottom of that, but never about these actual issues. So none of us are fucking, waking up early, going to bed at, late at night, waiting for, all the truth to be unveiled, right?
But that's only going to encourage the group inside the government, the faction, to try to kill the big guy again. I'm not trying to create some controversy. Alex Jones turns on Trump, turns on Bongino. It's not that. Please don't insult us anymore. Please.
No, I think we got to. I think you're stupid, your forehead's shiny, and you're a terrible burden on your poor mother.
Please. God, I mean, it's like getting up at a dinner party and taking a dump on a plate and telling everybody it's chocolate ice cream. I mean,
you can pause it right too. That's when
okay, we can. Well,
that's what it ends.
I mean,
Adam,
isn't
your
he
thoughts?
right?
Well, look.
Now, okay, so this is the guy who walks behind Trump in the parade with the pooper scooper.
You might not like what I have to say, Vinny, Tom. It's amazing to see people that were avid supporters of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino just a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, completely turn on them because, as he said, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And whether you like it or not, it's up to you. I know people. I get it. I understand.
Oh, by the way, you do realize, like, the people who liked them before and are mad at them now are reacting to what they said before and what they're saying now. So, again, in the world of cause and effect, you're getting mad at the effect because you don't want to address the cause. On a, you know, if we're going to talk logic.
It's not there. If I was there, we would have told you. So I'm going to take these people at their word, unless you think they're a liar. Because I had a conversation.
I think they're liars, but for a bunch of other reasons, not this. I don't really care.
With somebody that's very in the know, and he goes, sometimes don't rule out sheer incompetence. Don't rule out people just messing up. Sometimes it's not a cover-up; it's just a complete screw-up.
Can I ask you?
So there is. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so he's talking about like at Butler, and I would argue that is the majority of the reason why that guy ended up on the roof was because they pulled people out of that little tower where they were overlooking the roof that would have seen him to look for a guy who was walking around the ground.
You just want to talk and not listen.
Oh, no, I'm listening a lot.
These guys are friends.
Sometimes.
Wait. Who just said that?
Adam's.
Sometimes incompetence.
All right, checking
is
my notes.
The world's most underrated mastermind. If you would.
So you're saying you believe them?
I would say
that Epstein.
I'm talking specifically about Trump and the Butler situation.
Okay, the Butler.
Is that not what we're talking about?
No, go Butler and then go Epstein.
I will do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I know a lot of people want to say, it was the FBI, it was the CIA, they did this. That's the director of the FBI. I think he would know.
I think he would know, okay? He's the director of the FBI. He's seen the files. Now, I'm not going to apologize to the last director of the FBI who said the exact same fucking thing, because that would mean I would have to admit that I was being an asshole, and that's not what Alex is willing to do. He can never do that because he's pulling the same Roy Cohn bullshit that Trump does, so he can never admit that he was wrong, so it's got to be somebody else who's engaged in a giant conspiracy, even if it was somebody you liked before.
So I think you would know.
Okay.
So I just find it hilarious that the person that everyone was so in favor of, once they tell you what they know and the truth, and it's not what you want to hear, now you have an issue with them on this particular situation.
Sad.
Who has, and I love you, who do I think has more credibility? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, or Vinny?
Okay.
I love you.
I know where you're
I'm
going.
going to go with them.
Okay, but you're
I know
missing...
you're going to say...
No, what am I going to say?
You're going to say, well, I don't believe them.
No,
I don't believe
Adam,
them. I don't believe them.
What I'm saying is, Adam, you could talk...
This is going great. I just want to say, I think we can all agree that bridges are being built, understanding is deepening, the foundation of agreement is being laid, and I'm sorry, I'm done. It's just stupid.
Believe them.
You could talk the talk.
I'm not
Adam.
talking anything.
Not you.
I'm believing them.
Not you. I'm saying they can make all the promises. Then Adam, then once they come in and the tune changes, yeah, we're gonna talk shit because
So you're saying they're compromised?
I don't.
Ouch. Oh, yes, that's what he's saying. Yes, they're compromised. There's no real other reason for it. Now, don't get me wrong. Peanut Butter Dickhead has a great theory, and it absolutely sucks.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
By the way, hit the like, share the show, patreon.com/HouseSparks. Also, Twitch. Let's get a hype train going. Hype train. I'll remind everybody. And we need 10 more subscribers because you like deep dives. You've come to the deep state.
But you know what I do know, Adam?
What do you know?
From a ex-military sniper shooting point of view, militant, Secret Service, sloped roof bullshit, none of it makes sense.
asshole.
None of it makes sense. And I understand they have the behind the scenes and all the facts and everything. You can't tell me that Thomas Crooks, with his 6 cell phones and his parents being protected and his apartment being wiped out clean, okay?
Also, they're going to take everything in his apartment for examination too. Like, I don't know, did you guys fucking go knock there? I'm fairly certain that if you're killed by the Secret Service, you lose your lease. I don't know how stuff works, but his apartment was cleaned out largely because they took everything into evidence. Like, I would be surprised if they didn't take the fucking carpet, everything. He took a pot shot at one of the major candidates, right? That would be why you would just scoop it. Like, do you guys ever see? Hold on. Did you guys ever see what they did with the Unabomber's cabin? Hold on. Let's see. Images. Yeah. There you go. Whoops. God damn it. Where's the image of it? There it is. This guy filmed it for exhibits. Yeah. So here you go. This is what they did. They picked up the whole fucking thing, the entire cabin, and they airlifted it. They flew it. They put it on a truck, and then they took it to a warehouse and broke the whole fucking thing down. But they took pictures of all of it as they did it. So yeah, they're gonna fucking scoop out everything in the fucking apartment. They didn't disappear it. What do you think somebody's gonna do? Turn the goddamn thing into a museum?
And all that information, he acted by himself. Adam, because you know what I believe in? Going back to the spirituality is evil. Evil, the left, that party, the deep state, I'm not saying all Democrats, their goal...
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Vinny. Thanks, Vinny. Okay, in all deference, I will say that the only thing evil about you is obviously Satan or a demon has gotten into your chintzy little brain or parked in your burned out cinder of a soul and made it impossible for you to see Donald Trump's name when the Epstein topic has come up. That's got to be evil. The devil is the only explanation. That or you're fucking stupid.
Trump, plain and simple. And it failed the first time. They did the switcheroo with Kamala. Then Ryan Ralph, Mr. Ukraine lover, weird. Ukraine, you think Zelensky and them love Trump? No, they would have loved to have this guy taken out to get the money keep flowing in.
Well, then why wouldn't they send somebody who knew what they were fucking doing? Sorry, these guys can defend themselves against Russia, but they couldn't, snipe somebody playing fucking golf near an airport?
Okay, I'm just not naive, Adam. Those two guys look like they've been told to shut the hell up.
So they're...
Yeah, sure, yeah. It's got to be it's gonna be rough. Yeah. They do, absolutely. Is the cabin on Airbnb? Now, I'm sure some asshole has a recreation of it, Heavy Sleeper.
They might be compromised, Adam. When it comes to the Epstein thing, my question to you.
Awkward.
You think in this 4 years, we're going to find out anything about Epstein or we're going to get any closer to the truth?
I hope so. But
you might know. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get anything from today?
Do you want me to answer the question?
Yeah,
you want
May
to ask
22nd.
Keep talking?
No, May 22nd till Trump is gone. Anything?
I would hope so, but it's also probably doubtful. Because, in my opinion, they don't want certain names who were on that island.
Who's they, motherfucker? If Trump says, make it so, make it so. And if Kash Patel and Bongholio are in charge of it, along with Pam Bondi, what's stopping them? They literally have control of all the levers. Oh, yes, he is so close. He's so fucking close.
To come out. And what's the reason they don't want those names to come out?
The system will collapse.
Assuming is those people probably run the world or at the very least run the country.
They run the world, or at the very least, they run the country. Let's see. It's got to be, honest to God, it has to be like a cognitive, like, misfire in their brain where they want to think Trump, but all that comes into their head because they're not allowed to say his name in conjunction with this is literal quotes from this dumb motherfucker. Donald Trump, I run the country and the world. Sorry, what was that again? What was that again? Dipshit number 3? Hold on.
I'm assuming is those people probably run the world or at the very least run the country.
Oh, yeah. Well, Vinny, you're going this way. And
you don't
you're
say.
Very clear about what you just said. I don't need to summarize it. And Adam.
Yeah, definitely don't summarize Vinny. It'll make him very angry.
Clear on that. What I said is they both looked a little bit stiff and a little bit uncomfortable there, but I'm not an expert. I don't know how to read that, but I looked at it and said, God, these guys look a little stiff and uncomfortable. However, my point was, I just want Pam Bondi to finish the sentence she started when she walked to the microphone without speculation. So I'm probably, that's wrong.
Yeah, she wasn't in the interview, dude. And there's a reason why not. Oh, thank you, Frida. Did I nail that or what? Come on. Kapow.
Matt, it's like, okay, Pam, then tell us, and then let's go after the criminal enterprise that was trafficking the kids.
Can I ask PBD? Because basically what we're saying is the following.
Basically,
you believe Cash and Dan Bongino or not? So in my opinion,
not.
And I actually believe that.
Not. I'm all right. Hold on. I got it together. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So
not.
Because you're basically saying, no, they're not telling me what I think, so now I don't believe them, and there's nothing you can tell me otherwise. Do you think these guys have high credibility? Do you think they've been compromised since they entered office?
Dan Bongino.
How dare you question them?
Said, please don't stop investigating this. If you're running a couple entrepreneurial organizations, are the only ones that are talking about it. He specifically said that pre-getting in. His words.
Weird.
Right? So his words conflict with today's words. Now, that doesn't mean that can't happen. Many times, you will, like, for example, the whole story with The Rock going to Vince McMahon saying, I need you to pay me $2 million a year. And then he says, wait a minit, do you know how we make money here? He says, no. So why do you want me to pay you $2 million? Because you just said you...
That's a great fucking story. I don't care. There's a part where... Hold on, let me see. I'm going to jump ahead to this because it gives this analogy that, like, once fucking The Rock realized how little money they make... Okay, yeah. So here it is.
Being his 80th and 250 America's birthday, then World Cup coming.
Okay, so
what if they had...
Okay, so this is his thing.
There's a part of me that thinks Trump's behind all of this because Trump...
Oh. There's part of me that thinks Trump is behind all of this. Yes! You nailed it! Abso-fucking-lutely! Yes, Trump is behind all of this. Jeffrey Epstein's best fucking friend is behind all of it.
Not in the way that you think about it. There's a part of me that thinks Trump's behind all of this because Trump...
Yes, because Trump was best friends with him for 25 years and loved Roy Cohn, and the only two people he's ever spent more time with than fucking hookers is 2 pedophiles. That's got to be it. He's nailing it. Here it comes, PBD. This is why you're the boss. This is why this is your show. This is why you fucking nailed it. Give it up for PBD. They realized it. Finally. Nope.
Wants to use this as a leverage of negotiating against the enemy.
Jesus Christ. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going, what a fucking reach. And you're right. But there is no fucking way that you can divert from the obvious logical thought that Trump is behind all of this shit because he controls all the people that they're bitching about, allegedly. Because God knows what the fuck he's doing, because everything they said about Biden is true of Trump, clearly. But yeah, it's total 4D chess. Right, this is the 4D chess idea. Wait for this. Fuck.
So think about it this way.
Okay. All right. Think about it this way. And by the way, remember, Vinny is sitting right over here, this way. And Vinny, I'm telling you, is not going to like what he hears for a very logical reason.
If they had proof on what happened with Crooks, should you drop it now? Or do you need to hang on to that for the next 4 years to have control?
So you know what happened with Crooks, meaning the deep state or somebody arranged it, and you know they did it, you know who did it, but you keep it for 4 years for some other fucking reason. Leverage, whatever, okay.
Authority. What happens if you hang on to that?
You're saying he's playing his cards close to the vest.
All I'm
he
saying
knows
is
something and he's doing misdirection.
If I knew Crooks was an asset that was mind control tied to somebody else was working with him, why would I release it now? Why does he need that ammunition right now? He doesn't need it yet. He's going to need it. Trust.
What? Wait a minute. Why wouldn't he need that ammunition right now? Like, why wouldn't you just plow the fucking field? What do you think? This is all part of some fucking dance? He's planning a 10 million immigrant deportation scheme and all kinds of stuff. What the fuck? I know, it's so stupid.
The war hasn't even started yet.
The war? With who? What do you think? There's a bunch of fucking Iranian mullahs on these tapes? The shit are you talking about?
What they're going to try to do to destroy this guy. The war, next year, I keep saying 2026 is going to be the greatest year in the history of America with, June 15 being his 80th and 250 America's birthday, then World Cup coming here. They're going to do everything in their power to make him and America look bad. He needs...
Sorry. So he's going to hold back that the deep state set up Crooks and MK Ultra controlled this moron to take a pot shot at Trump in a fucking field, and he's going to use that as leverage so that they don't fuck with the World Cup?
All of these pieces, all these cards for next year, all of them, my opinion. If I'm the president, I'm not going to leak that information today. I'm hanging on to it to know when we're going to drop the news. And when we do, it's got to be at a time that I'm going to destroy your party. I'm going to make sure the world knows about what you're doing. You best get your act.
Why wouldn't you do that, now? For real. I mean, if you started now, let's say you were going to try people for this, and you said the deep state had some Democrats behind the plot to kill him and all that kind of stuff. You'd have to start the trials and rounding people up now just to beat the fucking midterms. Otherwise, Democrats will have a chance to fill in the midterms about that time. You're like, oh, well, fuck that guy. He was terrible. I had no idea. Let's put in a better Democrat then. What are you talking about?
Together, or else. You don't think he's capable of talking like that behind closed doors? So to me, all I'm thinking about is that.
To who? Behind closed doors means it's his fucking team.
Right now he's saying, guys, delay.
Yeah, this is so fucking Grover.
Oh, hello there.
Delay. Because I'm going to need to stuff the next 3 years.
Okay, no, they said the guy acted alone, period.
Mm-hmm. Delay all of it. I'm going to need it the next 3 years. Because shit's going to get nasty the next 3 years. It's going to.
But can I respond real quick?
Yeah.
I think the way you think is incredible, and
Yes.
and that's admirable because a lot of
such genius. Absolutely. Let him have it. Tell him what a genius he is.
people think that you're already you wrote a book, your next 5 moves, you're thinking 5, 10, 15 moves ahead, and Trump would be doing that in this regard.
He's for sure thinking like that.
So
he's for sure thinking like that.
Only counter argument would be, then why come out and make a statement that he didn't do it? All you would have to say is it's still under investigation. And we'll get back to you.
No, because what this does is this stops it. It's like, done, go.
Yeah. But now we're talking about
it. But you know, my thing is, guys,
and you know what you could do later on? You could say, you want to believe what you just got. We got new information that we never had before. It's
the old season 2.
Ah, yes. Yes, we could just take a piece of information we know exists and hide it for 2 years, and nobody, especially the deep state, who apparently is a tendrilled octopus that is in everything, will ever get wind of it in 2 years and make that information disappear in the interim. Yeah, give them plenty of time. It's a great idea. Genius.
You're bringing back the character you thought was dead.
These are professional communicators. This is not a regular.
Yeah, we're talking about Caroline Levitt, people. What are you worried about? Cenk is agnostic? No, Cenk is an atheist.
These guys that do this job, you have to learn how to do this. The enemy's watching every single one of your moves. Remember, we have freedom of speech. China does not. Iran does not. Russia
Yeah, good. Bring it back to that, brother. Yeah. And only because Trump is here.
Does not. We have freedom of speech. What is the benefit of not having freedom of speech? Your enemy is not able to see what you're doing. What is the benefit of having freedom of speech? You can't silence people that want to say stuff like we're saying right now. If we had no freedom of speech, we can't even say what we just said right now.
Yeah.
Because somebody go, well, listen, these guys are Trumpsters. This is not a good look. We're not sitting here saying we agree. So it's not, this is the part where the audience is kind of like, so what are you guys? Are you for it or are you not for it? No, look, we voted for certain things we want to know. But having said that, Vinny, I still understand the idea of knowing, keeping a card because you know they're going to try to destroy you.
I get that, but I'm not comfortable with.
Here it comes. Here comes the root logic that, you remember that thing I said he would never fucking lose? Watch this. And by the way, these guys are exemplary of the arguments that are happening at The Blaze and Daily Wire and all these other places. And I'm sure back, I don't know how much Crowder is sucking up this shit, but all the right-wing crowd are all having this. So we're kind of covering multiple bases, and I'll show you. But
any leverage, any negotiations with kids being raped. Like, if the information is there, those kids deserve justice now. If it's a leverage tool with Trump and he's biding his time, I am 1,000% not comfortable with that. Biding and waiting and saving it. I understand it's a tactic move and he's trying to save it for the end game, but we're talking about kids that are on camera getting raped and they have it, and it's I am 1,000% against that, if that's the case.
There is a...
Yes. Your big dumb idea that you just had that you think is like 5D chess? Fuck that. Right? So that's what I'm saying. These guys are running aground in this. So that was his plan. Now let me jump over to one of the other responses. This is off The Blaze. What's her name? This is the Sarah Gonzalez. Here we go. What's really... Oh, by the way, chat room, if you could, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Peanut Butter Dickhead and that crowd may be able to buy bots to lift up their channel, but I cannot. I will not. Even if I could, I wouldn't. So I need you. So we need 10 subscribers in this clip. So if you're watching this later, hit the subscribe button. And there'll be a little graphic or something. That's it works. Anyways, okay, so here you go. Who farted? Right. So, okay. So this is definitely Sarah Gonzalez's face, and it's not surprising. But maybe it was me. All right. What's really going on?
You had Kash Patel and Dan Bongino,
right,
in this interview, and
just keep looking up at the sky. Maybe the Lord will tell you what to say about it. That's right, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. There's only two options here. And one of them is Trump Epstein. I can't allow myself to think of that. So it's either, I guess I'm left with two other options. One is they're full of shit or I'm full of shit. And I'm not comfortable with either. What do you mean both, Lord?
The energy that they are bringing is a really different energy from the energy that we heard from them before Donald Trump.
Excuse me, you're on The Blaze. It's pronounced Entergy.
Was elected, and we heard, Kash Patel was going to release the Epstein files, and there were big bombshells in there, and you wouldn't believe. And now all of a sudden, they're saying some really interesting, in my opinion, unbelievable things. Watch.
Interesting.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
Okay, we saw this part already.
Please.
Anyways, watch this.
What?
Again, you want me to get... I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
What the hell is happening right now?
Oh, do you know how excited Bongholia was to get this fucking job? Just the follow-up on this.
In the whole file. He killed himself.
What the hell is happening right now?
Oh, it's just so fucking good. What the hell? Okay. I don't buy it. Okay.
These people been replaced? Are these aliens? Are those cyborgs? What am I watching? It's like
your entire worldview crumble before you because it was based on a castle of shit built on a mountain of lies. Yeah, what is this, not so great replacement theory? Not only are they trying to replace our voters and our population with Mexicans, they're also replacing our American heroes, our MAGA, America First heroes, with dunderhead pod people who will sell the party line on this. I don't like it. What the hell?
You had not just a man who, I mean, you could go through all of the details that make it so inconceivable, right? It's like, but what happened to the security cameras?
Yeah, I don't know why nobody really brings that up. It's weird.
What happened to the security guards?
I don't know, maybe they were taking a nap. It's hard to say. We really don't know.
Why was the guy moved out? The neighbor, what is it?
Cellmate? Neighbor? Fuck me. This is where we turn to the Blaze for high quality news and information. That's right. The keen, the cunning, the insight.
Inmate. I don't know what the hell. I've never been to prison. And so
just hang on.
Have all of these inconsistencies, and after all of that.
Also, you do realize you don't have to be like involved in stuff to know the words when you're talking about it for a living, right? That you do realize that nobody's going to accuse you. Maybe you don't. They associate ignorance with innocence all the time anyways. Like, if I don't know anything about it, I can't possibly be guilty of it. You know.
We're supposed to believe because Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are sitting there like, yes, he killed himself. Please don't hurt me. It's like what it felt like.
Yeah, it was a very uncomfortable conversation. I mean,
It was so uncomfortable. I was like, so uncomfortable. I didn't even know. You know, it's uncomfortable looking at both of them anyways, because, you know, Kash Patel, I don't know which eye to look in and where they're going. And Dan Bongholio, I mean, he looks like a dinner theater RoboCop without his helmet on, and it's creeping me the fuck out. Okay.
I could feel it just watching. And I was like, all right, Epstein didn't. No, he killed himself. Okay, we get the message. It was very, very awkward. I couldn't believe as I'm watching this unravel. Because, you know, Dan Bongino is someone who obviously had a career in front of a microphone. So he's a very comfortable person when it comes to speaking out publicly.
Oh, so you'd never watched his show? Because I would argue he was fucking terrible. But okay.
In the press, and
That's why I got bounced from Fox.
Well, Fox, that's where he used to work. So it was very uncomfortable, especially because after Patel finished speaking, he just kind of... And it was just so uncomfortable. But listen, here's the thing, right?
He didn't kill himself. He didn't.
I'm going to go on the record by...
This is their side. I would like to remind you. This is the Blaze, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't the fucking View.
I don't think he killed himself.
And the only reason I can think of they would say that is because Trump told them. I don't even know why that... I'm having some not allowed thoughts right now.
What? I'm just now hearing this theory for the first time.
Breaking news bombshell. I'll write a book and I call it a co-author with Jake Tapper.
Yeah, original sin. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
It's so bad. It's really bad, Sarah.
It's so bad. Sarah, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's like, I thought it was like bad, but I was like, this bad? Like, yeah.
To Brianna's point, you really could, you could feel the tension through the screen.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't the question. Maybe it wasn't maybe they're just telling the truth and they're very comfortable there. Maybe Maria Bartiromo made a stinky right before and everyone stiffened because it was socially awkward and they didn't want to bring it up. They was just like, what about, so you said that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself and everyone reacted, and how would you respond to that? And so they're both like, did this bitch just fart? That's what you were seeing. Fox edited it out and they ended up with egg on their face.
These guys, it was so uncomfortable, and I'm like, where were these renegades that we saw before they came into the office that were like,
that was just bullshit, Joel.
We're gonna blow everything up.
Well, I think that
oh, Matt, poor Matt, do what you can, man. I think that turd polishing is a growth industry in the Trump era.
I've said this before, The same with Barack Obama. Barack Obama said, I am going to close down Guantanamo Bay. And I was like, no, you are not. It's not going to happen. And
why? Because the deep state was storing all the Epstein files there?
I think that it's okay when you're on the outside. And then when you get on the inside and you start seeing...
That's what it is. It's the reality. He got in there. He wanted to shut it down. He said he was going to shut it down while he was there. He made moves to do it. They wouldn't give, the Republican Congress wouldn't give him the funds to move the prisoners. And you have to get that, like, that requires Congress. That's a stated goal. There's a difference between a stated goal that the Republicans stymie, and these guys did this shit to themselves, Matthew.
All these things, all these connections that are going on. I mean, I think that the Epstein thing is way, way, way worse.
It's way, way, way worse
than anyone, even the worst that people think of it. I think it's so bad.
All the more reason to release it. Isn't Donald Trump the greatest leader this planet has ever seen? I mean, if he can't handle it, I guess you're just giving up then? I guess you're going to cede the world to the Epstein crowd, because if Trump can't take him down, nobody can.
And look, what I say about those two guys, I like them both very much.
You mean Epstein and Dershowitz? Or
I mean, you know, we went to something with Cash, and I think Dan Bongino's fantastic. Do I think he's an authentic person? Yes.
So, that said, I think they're both very authentic. I think they're telling the truth in as much as they can without pissing off Trump.
The worst show of lying that I have ever seen. I just don't buy it. And they don't have good poker faces because I believe personally, they're good men. But they're in a position, let's be honest, where when you're talking about things that I do believe that pertains to world leaders.
One of whom, I can think of a world leader that knew Jeffrey Epstein quite well. He'll even tell you how much of a world leader he is, right? Right, Matthew? Holy shit.
They've uncovered something like, holy moly, this is way deeper than...
Holy... Like, what would they discover? What the fuck are you... What do you think they're worried about? They're like, oh my God, Reagan was friends with him. No, they're gonna... What they found is Trump's his buddy. Something we all fucking know.
Even we thought. And when you are in that position, when you are there, we were just saying this outside, right? Like, Dan didn't have to do that. He's making a ton of money. He's massively successful. He's charismatic. He's got everything going for him.
No, he was on Rumble. Relax.
The patriot, and he wanted to get in there and do.
He's a patriot. And he wanted to have a job that was real instead of being a peripheral maggot in the media sphere that they basically looked sideways at. He wanted a real job again. Also, hold on. Let's see, where's this? Okay, this is the videos. There you go. Yeah, here you go. Oh, look at that. Error code on that one. Let's see, put this, go here, and then we'll shrink this down. 1 second. Hold on. Shrink this down like this, and then we'll shrink this down. I just want to do this in the middle of everything. Hold on. While he's talking, you know, I think it's important. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, you were saying, Matthew. Just want to play this in a little window here. Go ahead.
Good work. He got in there, and he's not like the scumbags that went before him who had great poker faces because all they did was lie. Right. He looks massively uncomfortable there. Yeah. He did, and so did Cash. Cash is like, you know, and he's a renegade. They just look totally buttoned down, like, oh, how are we going to get through this? It wasn't natural. It wasn't natural. I don't know if we'll ever find out, and that is really, really tragic.
Yeah, I mean, because...
It's fucking tragic. It totally is.
If we don't find out with...
Yeah, if we don't find out what, lady? We don't find out that fucking like Trump was buddies with this dude, which is well documented.
Presidency with this administration, with the administration that has gone in and been more transparent with the American people than I can ever remember. I don't know.
I don't remember. What have they been transparent about? Besides attack plans via Tinder, listen to me, Signal.
You guys have a recollection of anyone else. And so.
What, honest to God, what transparency? I'm dead serious. This isn't even like, you know, they made the promise of releasing the Epstein stuff. Beyond that, what the shit?
With that level of transparency, it's like, I mean, maybe if you have a JD Vance, but it feels like the window is closing here to actually get, and I'm not just talking about if Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, because I'm going to be honest, I care far less about that than
well, this must be the secondary talking point that they passed around.
Care about who the hell was riding on his plane to the island and doing unspeakable things to young girls. That's what I care about.
Sure, yeah. Or who was right? You know, what about this? Let me float this. Let's see. Epstein. Let's see. Plane. Golf. Whoops. Magazine reporter. That's it. I'm gonna try and get this in here. Whoops. Let's go this. Oh, why did I do this? Here we go. Hold on. Trump, Epstein, plane, flight, late, reporter. Yeah. Oh, that's the okay. So. Oh, get here. Well, hold on. There's so much of it. My goodness. Yeah, here you go. Donald Trump named repeatedly in Jeffrey Epstein files. Logs show Trump flew more often on Epstein planes than it was originally reported. Donald Trump used Jeffrey Epstein's former jet for flying. Jeffrey Epstein's pilot testifies Bill Clinton, Donald Trump were on the plane. This is Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. Pilot recalls flying Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Trump on the plane. Epstein flight log, Trump flew on Epstein's plane 7 times. Trump named in, Trump flew on the Lolita Express, brought Eric, Tiffany, and Clinton on there. Let's see. Yeah, and then this is the other one. Remembering the time Jeffrey Epstein rode on Donald Trump's plane. If you'll recall, I know this one's, I always have to find the secondary version of this. Let's see. There you go. Jeffrey Epstein party together. Former President Trump says he was never on Epstein's plane. He was on there at least 7 times that we know of. And then he used his plane for campaign stuff. I love this one. Donald Trump accidentally used an airplane that was previously owned by Jeffrey Epstein, because who hasn't? Let's see. Trump, Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane multiple times. Flight log, Trump flew on Epstein's plane 7 times. Trump named in Epstein files after 2 mystery, what was this? Flights, you know, the flight log, Trump's DOJ can release Jeffrey. Yeah, they didn't do that. Trump was worried that he was going to die on Epstein's plane when they were borrowing it, when they were using the plane. He had this fear that he was going to die, and everybody would know he was flying. Like, they were like, well, where did he die? He was flying Jeffrey Epstein's plane. So, hold on. That one story though, the golf reporter was on Trump's plane. He was waiting, and Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and an unnamed underage girl was brought onto the plane. So I would like to see Trump's flight logs.
Now, obviously, whoever was wrapped up in Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Whoever was wrapped up in what?
Yeah, who was in charge at that time? Do we know who was president and who was head of the DOJ, or if Trump even knew these people? And maybe he could call them and ask them directly, because he's president now.
Happened there, of course, would be connected, and some of that would be a little bit of overlap. But that's what I want. And you would imagine that people like Cash and Dan, I say that like I'm good friends with them.
Buddies.
You know, just Dan, I was just talking to him the other day. Not really. You would think that those people,
So it's your fault, I see.
Trust. Like, I do think that they do want accountability for those people. So it's like.
Based on what?
Why the hell not just give Americans transparency there?
I think I know why. I lost it. I don't know. I don't know that they know anybody who was tied up with him. Also, by the way, let's hop over to this business. This is Benny Johnson's thing, where the internet has freaked out about it. I don't know. Whatever his little fucking... Like they play these things.
Kash Patel and FBI determines Abraham Lincoln killed himself. L1B article right now. This all stems from an interview that they did this past weekend with Maria Bartiromo, where they both said this.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
Yeah, we saw this already.
You are going viral.
And then he plays other videos. There we go.
Here's the video.
Listen, that
Yeah, we saw
Epstein
this. See, these are making the rounds of all the right-wing stuff. That's what I'm telling you.
Anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about this. Is a big.
I've seen the whole file.
So now it's not just shit posters on the internet.
No, it's shit YouTubers in the Megaverse
coming after Kash and Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Jeffrey Epstein's own brother. His name's Mark Epstein, and he has an exclusive op-ed saying, well...
Also, why would you do an exclusive op-ed? Aren't all op-eds exclusive, I guess, technically? Don't you just send that to the opinion editor's poster thing? I don't know. Also, why would you make it exclusive if you're trying to get the message out? Another thing? Okay.
This isn't true.
Like the tenant media payments and stuff, and you couldn't have possibly known that money was coming from Russia and paying you to do videos that had nothing to do with your regular content. Just magically they wanted you to do some pop culture shit like Tim Pool, and the funding for your channel just came. Who could have known? Who wouldn't accept $100,000 a video and with no expectation on the numbers of click-throughs or the number of views, with no like, we'll pay $100,000 if it hits the 20,000 view mark or some shit, right?
And now Kash and Dan are part of a cover-up. All right.
Damn.
We're going to try and cover this fairly. I've explained my priors with Kash and Dan. Kash is...
Your priors?
...regular on our program. And Dan Bongino, I consider somewhat of a mentor in this.
Ah, so we should expect you to toe the line for them because shit rolls downhill, or you're in the tank for them and they're in the tank for Trump. So, okay, good. Well, it's nice because people on your side of the aisle don't have to watch your whole fucking video. They can just understand they're going to get an excuse.
And I'm going to set all of that aside and explain how we think we may have potentially cracked the case.
Oh, shit. They've cracked the case of Epstein's death?
With an exclusive interview that we just did with Epstein's lawyer, where both the internet that believes that there's a much broader conspiracy and those inside of running the FBI who are just looking directly at the evidence before us may be able to come to the same conclusion, okay? So please, let us cook here.
Yeah, please. Please.
We're going to give you everything.
Give me everything. Bend over. sorry, Benny Johnson. Sorry. Bend over Johnson.
Brutal and hard truths are the most important ones.
They are. Get brutal.
Let's just establish here that Mark Epstein is somebody who's appeared on Tucker's programming before. He's been constantly searching for the truth about his brother's death.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Epstein has appeared on credible news sources. He is a real person. He does...
Okay. He was Jeffrey Epstein's brother and didn't turn him in the entire time he was doing what he was doing. So put that in the file along with the response on this, I guess.
I believe that Bill Barr covered up the death of his brother.
Yes, and that would mean that he covered up the crimes of his brother. Cool. These are all great people.
And that there's a much broader conspiracy afoot here. Mark Epstein discussed Michael Baden's assessment of Jeffrey Epstein's death. Not a hanging, not a suicide. I mean, this was 60 Minutes interviewing some pretty famous people. And
yeah, some pretty famous people. Yes. So there's somebody else who's really famous who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, who's in a position of power, who could settle all this.
Really credible people who do autopsies in New York saying there's no way. There's no way that this was a suicide.
Yeah, they didn't do his autopsy.
So again, Mark Epstein is a deeply credible source here. Let's go.
Fabulous. Who wasn't present, doesn't know the details, just knows his brother, and never turned him in. Okay, cool. Anyways?
Epstein's brother has eviscerated Trump's FBI director, Kash Patel, for stating that his death was a suicide, despite...
Okay, try dodging this more, Benny. That's all this is. This is this motherfucker trying to dodge calling out him, like Dan Bongholio himself. She's like, well, this guy's really upset. You know, he's really laying it to him, you know, so I'm not criticizing him. I'm just reading the criticism.
That being the official ruling. The pedophile's brother, Mark Epstein, told the Daily Mail.
That's a rough one. That's a tough one to show up on your LinkedIn, I think.
That Patel wasn't there and didn't see the body. He didn't see the autopsy. He has no idea what he's effing talking about. Fighting words. It's a lot easier for me if I thought it was a suicide. And there's a long list of things that point away from it, he added, including Ghislaine Maxwell, who's on tape, on camera, saying from prison it wasn't a suicide.
Yeah, but she wasn't there either. I think she's trying to say that so that she doesn't end up dying the same way, or saying that she's not going to, right? That you would do that as well. Like, this is, yeah. Benny's not credible. Russia told me only to say this part. That's right.
I think she'd know, but...
My Russian handler got me a few articles to read and told me which parts to highlight, and I'm not allowed to say any more or any less, although I couldn't possibly.
Go ahead and read. The row comes as Patel and FBI director upset conspiracy theorists on Sunday, giving their...
Conspiracy theorists? It's, I don't know. Is that a code? Conspiracy theorist? Is that your safe word?
On Epstein's death. They sat down with Marie Bartiromo. During the interview, Bartiromo said, you said the Epstein was a suicide. People don't believe it. Patel says everybody has a right to their...
Boy, the energy here is almost as good as Kash and Dan. I call that because I like their friends of mine. This is a fun news story to do.
Opinion. Bongino confirmed. I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Jesus Christ. Lex Friedman calls. He wants his sleeping pills back. Holy shit.
I've reviewed the case. There's no evidence in the case file suggesting otherwise.
Suggesting otherwise. Maybe if I talk quietly in this video, no one will notice that I'm doing a video about it, and they'll leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to have to cover this, but everybody's yelling at me in my chat room to do it, and yet I'm getting notes from my handler. I'm not trying to do it. They said something that might turn out to be a lie. I don't know why he's whispering. Because Dan Bongino is asleep in the other room. That's why. I'm fairly certain. Is that what's going on? I don't think that's true. Look, we are not here to yuck anybody's yum, baby. You be you, boo.
But Epstein's brother, Mark, counts himself as one of the many who believe that Patel and Bongino are wrong.
You're not wrong. This is the thing. And I'm reading the article without saying the words.
Murdered. His rationale is multiple, including having personally brought and tested a bed...
Hey, asshat, we don't give a fuck. Finish reading the shit and then get to your opinion about this, you fucking weakling.
Through his own testing, using weights similar to his brother's body, he's found...
Jesus Christ. You just reading the fucking articles? Is that the show? Look, if nerdy dipshit reads internet files off of his laptop in Starbucks, I think Ben Shapiro's probably going to sue you for IP theft if you try this crap.
That's startling. The blood would not have traveled.
Jesus Christ. All right, so maybe he's reading.
We still await that. All right.
All right, now Benny's going to tell you. Benny's going to tell you. Benny and the bullshit is going to tell you. Bump, 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 bump. Benny and his bullshit.
So let's begin here. I wanted to give Jeffrey Epstein's brother, obviously, full ability to talk through what he believes happened to his brother.
Yeah, he didn't do that. You're reading an article. You could just link it in the thing below and say, if you want to read that article, he says this, and get the fuck on with it.
And I want
to
show you that there are some, again.
What'd I tell you? They're all freaking out. Look at Glenn Beck.
Credible people that done credible work on this that are saying, I don't believe it. I don't believe what Cash and Dan are doing, even from their own side, from the right. Here's Glenn Beck saying Cash Patel and Dan Bongino now claim that Epstein.
Yeah, Benny. I don't know what the fuck is this what these shows are? Are all these like this? Or it's just like assholes reading other people's tweets and articles and going, well, their opinion is this. Dude, what the fuck is this shit? This is what Glenn Beck is asking for.
Just out with it, right? Out with it. We've all seen everything from 9/11 to October 7th.
No, we haven't.
Attacks, right?
Nope.
They're far more gruesome here, says Cernovich. They're readily available all over the internet.
Yeah, but the victims are dead, or cooked, or slaughtered. It was also a war. It happened all at once. You didn't have to redact the victims' identities because they were sexually assaulted by Donald Trump's buddies.
As are the videos from Gaza. We can handle seeing proof that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Cash.
Yeah. I don't think they're holding it back. But also, there isn't video. That was isn't that part of the story? Jesus.
Bongino are men of great character. They should release the entire file and the images and the videos.
There wasn't video of his death. That's the point, right? And what do you think the crime scene videos are? If they don't show you what you want to see, are you going to believe the pictures that were taken? What are you talking about?
Out with it, right? If that's the case.
Yeah, if that's the case, if you really want us to know, Benny and his bullshit.
Then do it.
Do it.
There's a ton of pushback right now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Oh, he's going to fucking QAnon. Shadow of Ezra is a QAnon account. I think I have their account on Telegram or something. All their stuff is fucking. And as a Freemason, I would like to take this opportunity to tell Shadow of Ezra to go fuck themselves.
Do you believe them? People are asking. Various accounts that, of course, are big backers of the right are now calling to cancel Bongino and Cash.
Ouch.
I'm not agreeing with that, by the way.
No. He's your mentor. He taught you how to read, which is why you read this thing. And why the words come out and blah, 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 blah. Tonight, the annual, that's a tough one. Annual.
Just saying that this is creating quite a bit of a stir.
A stir? Oh, not in Bangholio's world. A stir, you say? That's rough. Oh no. A stir.
And I would like to present some.
Yeah, it's a bit of a kerfuffle. They are in a pickle.
Information that potentially.
But as a Freemason, when you tell the Illuminati to go fuck themselves, how it works? Well, considering they all died in the 17th century, sure.
Will lead us to a conclusion where maybe both sides can agree.
No. Maybe he killed himself. But he used the deep state as a weapon. That's what it was. It was like like suicide by cop, but with the deep state.
I don't know.
I do.
Begin with Tucker Carlson, the only person who's really truly investigated this from a seat of absolute authority on his.
Oh yes, total authority.
Most popular nightly show on Fox News, when he devoted weeks.
Devoted. Is there a synaptic misfire in all these motherfuckers where they're like, is it when the word Trump floats into their brain? Like, it's got to be in the mix when you talk about Epstein. The word Trump comes forward and they just go, what was I saying?
Investigation to the Jeffrey Epstein saga. And with his entire phalanx of a research team was able to discover this. It's very interesting.
Came in or out of the tier, Barr said. Therefore, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Please explain why the cameras weren't working. Well, obviously, because Epstein is not dead, and he paid $1 billion to have his body swapped with somebody else. That was effectively a derelict human being who'd had all their blood taken, and they filled it with blood that was reproduced in one of these labs that he hung out in of his own blood. Filled it with his plasma, his DNA in every way that they could, so that they could pass off this dead body as his. He would go out, they would cremate the body after he left, and so nobody could exhume it and check later, and that was that. And the dude was choked to death and delivered as a dead body to the cell, and they brought it in, and then they turned the cameras off, and $1 billion will buy you an extraction like that, and everybody will suck it up and say it didn't happen. And if you know the president at the time, it's going to help you get out of there. I'm spitballing, obviously.
Let's consider that claim rationally. On the night of August 9th,
if we're considering anything rationally, it's impossible to do whenever you're talking, Tucker. In your presence, rationality is impossible.
Jeffrey Epstein was being held in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, the most secure part of the city's federal lockup.
Well, he certainly wasn't shot, I guess. He wasn't shivved. Oh, let's give him credit for that. Secure lockup. Well done. He was not shivved. All right. I think we can all agree on that. Okay. Anyways, moving forward.
Physically impossible for a stranger to get in and out of this facility without an electronic pass and without being seen by the countless cameras in place between the street and the locked 9th floor of the building.
Right. So he had to have been murdered by some of the staff that were there. So you're accusing the prison staff of murder because nobody could have gotten in and out without arguing.
So if Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, he was not murdered by an intruder, someone who came into the tier. He was murdered by someone on his own cell block, obviously.
Obviously, because no one has arms longer than that. You can't crush someone's high right bone without, around a corner.
There were 7 other cells on Epstein's tier, and each one housed dangerous criminals. Mm-hmm. So if you were looking for a killer, you would figure out who was in those cells.
Yeah, who was in those cells? Probably just a shoplifter who had a history of working with the CIA.
But no one seems to have thought of that or done it. The Bureau of Prisons refused to provide us with a list of the inmates on Epstein's tier. It's not clear how many of them were even interviewed by investigators, despite the fact that some of them were transferred out of the facility shortly after Epstein's death.
Right, because it's a crime scene now. And I don't know if you know this, it's not usually a good idea to have criminals around a crime scene. They, especially if they're in special housing where they might, chuck their dung at you while you're trying to, sweep for DNA.
Oversight. Instead, Attorney General Bill Barr simply assured the country that no one from outside came into Jeffrey Epstein's tier and declared the case solved. And if you think about it, that is a remarkable way to assess a potential crime scene.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that nobody came from the outside to kill him. So the idea that anybody broke through their bars or got out when the sensors didn't show them opening or shutting, then that would be difficult to prove as well. Those people were then moved out so they could look at all these, and again, all the guards were accounted for. I don't know. Have we checked? Has anybody frisked the janitor, I guess, or?
You consider the source. Bill Barr was not.
Sorry, Bill Barr, you consider the source? You mean Bill Barr, the guy whose father gave Jeffrey Epstein his first job at an all-girls school teaching physics when he had no degree to do such a thing?
Civilian or a crime?
Yeah, John Depp. You definitely don't want people criminaling in your crime scene.
Aficionado.
It is solved. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't bring that up. You're right. It was solved. It's solved. All right? Solved. Was he dissolved insolvent? Is that what we're saying? All right.
He was the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. He was the nation's top cop. His job was to solve crimes. And
that's right. And he was on the beat. He wasn't even there because he was out asking some woman if the train schedule that she was using for her alibi worked out. Madam, if I have one more question.
Somehow, with all his law enforcement experience, it never seemed to dawn on Bill Barr that if there was a killer, the killer would have...
Must still be in this room, and they killed him in a writ of fellas jage. Would you like to see the body? I would be delighted.
Come from one of the cells on Epstein's tier. And then further, apparently, no one in the entire FBI...
Golly! So now we've gone from Benny reading shit, reading other people's opinions, to just Benny watching TV on his fucking feed?
Suggested this to Bill Barr.
Look, I deal with this stuff, but at least I break it the fuck up and interject. The shit?
They reviewed the case. Excuse me, Mr. Attorney General. It doesn't matter what the camera outside the tier shows. What matters is what happened inside the tier.
That's right. Yeah, that inside camera. You know what I'm saying? Ow. Damn it. I'm fine.
Well, okay. Let's make a really quick forensic assessment of what happened to...
Yeah, thank God we've got Benny and his bullshit to do a forensic assessment. Here it comes. I wish CSI had a singable theme song.
Jeffrey Epstein. What we absolutely know.
What do we know? He's might be dead. This is what we absolutely know.
Is how Jeffrey Epstein died. Jeffrey Epstein died by having his neck snapped.
Which often happens when people are hung, I have heard. I don't know. Yeah. His Shatner's rubbish, yeah. I don't understand. How can a man hang himself with paper sheets? I mean, perhaps they were made out of the New York phone book, but who has a phone book? Mr. Smart.
Let's listen to the doctor, shall we? Trust the science.
Yes, let's listen to the doctor.
My PhD is in pathology and toxicology.
So he killed him in a drunken phase.
Autopsies. I know enough about anatomy to know that a slump hanging is not going to fracture the
hyoid bone. Hyoid bone. Watch some fucking true crime. We all know what the hyoid bone. Anybody who Green River killer, fucking Long Island serial killer, the I-5 killer, the Golden State killer, same dude. Hyoid bone, dummy.
Bone into 3 pieces. Epstein did not kill himself. He was strangled by a very strong man.
Mm-hmm. And it was largely because he forgot his safe words. I'm kidding. A man has died who was a pedophile. So never mind. I'm not gonna get upset.
This indicates we have a huge problem. Others saying anomaly around Epstein hanging himself. Epstein was found hanging himself in his cell.
What do you mean others? Why are you jumping from the trust the science guy to just other fucking tweets? Get on with it. I thought this motherfucker interviewed people.
Strangled to death.
Dr. Michael Baden, who participated, was present at the...
That's all Benny's doing is just watching Tucker do his fucking job for him? What the fuck? How does that pass for a fucking show?
I like wood. Deeper and longer autopsy has participated in like over 1,000 autopsies of prison deaths.
I have never seen 3 fractures like this in a suicidal hanging. Going over 1,000 jail hangings, suicides in the New York City state prisons over the past 40, 50 years, no one had 3 fractures.
His fairly firm conclusion is that this was not...
God, this is like the shittiest documentary I've ever seen. This is exact, like Tucker Carlson is fucking rich. I'm going to get on this. You guys know it's going to drive me crazy. This fucker was born with a silver spoon up his ass. He's never had to worry about money in his fucking life. He's a multi-millionaire. He's a fucking like trust fund kid, all that shit, right? And he's got his own channel now, right? And he's doing these fucking documentaries and all this kind of stuff. And he can't. This is the best fucking audio he has. He was on Fox for years.
Suicide, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. He was holding off on that determination, pending determination of how the body was found, which we...
Also, sorry, in this interview, is Tucker the only one that matters so they just don't cut away? Or did this guy not want to be seen in a fucking show with Tucker?
Finally, now that they say the way the body was found, it just only shows that it was not that way. The autopsy shows it's not that way, which further convinced Dr. Bodden that this was not a hanging.
So again.
So, okay, was that Mark Epstein, his brother, who didn't want to be on camera then? Oh, hey, it's the woman that Trump wished well when she went to prison, and his buddy.
Very strange.
Really? Yeah. Really strange. Yeah. Can I float something? He tried multiple times and was unsuccessful, but was already slowly asphyxiating and decided it didn't work the first time. And so he jammed his neck forward, trying to tighten the thing to step back up to choke himself. And he injured his throat multiple times doing that, and because he knew he was going to die, but he was worried that they would be able to resuscitate him. What do I know? It's been solved. I'm sorry, it's been solved.
Experts are saying, well, the way that his body was sitting, the way that he was positioned, and the breaks in his neck are completely consistent with a strangulation.
Yeah, so Dan Bongino is lying on behalf of somebody. I wish we could figure out who it was.
The noose around Epstein's neck had no blood on it. Epstein had access to other means of self-harm, but he used a very...
He had a CPAP machine cord? Nobody thought to strangle him with his CPAP?
Efficient method. The death scene was disturbed immediately by prison staff.
Yeah, that often happens when they try to resuscitate someone.
The cell was likely cleaned and reused, destroying potential evidence.
Was likely cleaned and reused. Well, I got news for you. It's still being used. It's a prison. They didn't make it the Jeffrey Epstein Memorial hanging cell. This fucking moron.
So, who was with Epstein in his cell? Who were the people who were around Jeffrey Epstein?
There was somebody who was very famous who was
inside. So if Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, if Jeffrey Epstein was simply found dead in his cell, then
he's just he's just asking questions. He's just asking questions. Stupid questions that he believes he knows the answers to, that help him avoid mentioning Donald Trump's name or calling Kash Patel and Dan Bongholio liars. But he's just asking questions.
Who was there? Epstein. If Epstein killed himself, it was assisted suicide. Epstein's cellmate, an ex-cop, convicted of killing 4 people.
It is a prison, and it is the special wing of the, the guy's a lightweight compared to Epstein, I would argue.
Former police officer Nicholas Tarleone, who once shared a cell with Epstein, was found guilty of gangland-style murders.
See? Everything does work. Right. He managed to make it to trial.
Here is Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate.
Look, I'm just saying it might have been... It might have been... Sorry. It might have been that he just, again, forgot the safe word.
Just going to let this one hang for a second. The doctor, all the smart people, all the smart doctors who literally assess prison murders say he was strangled to death, that someone broke his bones in his neck. They were so strong that they broke the bones in his neck. And just this guy happened, a strangler, this is what this guy does professionally.
He's a professional strangler. I didn't realize. Well, all right, I take back what I said about the other guy's LinkedIn page. This is... It's bad for Mark Epstein, definitely, brother of pedophile, birth date to whenever, to death date. But this guy, professional strangler. It's a growth industry.
He's convicted of being a murderous strangler.
Well, yeah. Is there another kind? Wouldn't he be just a choker? You know, to strangle somebody, I think they have to die. A murderous strangler. Okay.
This guy was the Epstein prison cellmate. Got it. Okay.
Yes, and he was moved out, and Epstein was still alive and was seen by multiple people, including the guards, after this guy had been moved to another place. You know why? Because I think Epstein was probably asking that the mad strangler be moved to another area before he could get his breath back.
I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, oh. Points and tongues and vests and thongs. Whoa, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, oh. Point, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do. Yay. Point, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do. Bust up.
Look, I got to be careful playing this because I'm fairly certain Benny has started using that for his theme song, but only in segments about mad stranglers. So, again, we're not here. If you're a consensual adult and no one dies in the process, I think I should add that. So, it's okay. We don't yuck anybody's yum.
Here's all I'm trying to say here.
I think you're trying to look at it. By the way, can I show you something real quick, and then we'll move on to the next dipshit. Since I'm going long anyways, because I got to drive to LA tonight. Look at all the X accounts. That's all he's doing. He's just fucking bringing up. I mean, you're not gay, you're super gay. Well, if you want that to be your theme song, I'm sure I can arrange something. It's adorable, that song. I was very proud of it. I originally created that song using AI as a what everyone hears when Trump plays YMCA. That's what it was meant to be, an overlap. I couldn't, every time he started playing YMCA, I'd get a copyright strike if I played it. So I wanted some music to play over top of it. And so I made that to kind of make the point that I would argue, and I think many people would agree, that short of In the Navy, YMCA is one of the single greatest gay songs and gayest gay songs in the history of gay songs. Gayer, I would argue, than I Will Survive. Because a box wine Janine Pirro could listen to that song and sing it herself as a torch song, and still it would land. But YMCA is in a class all by itself.
Don't ever. Bongino posts all the time. He says, hold me accountable. Don't ever insulate me from criticism, right?
Well, you seem to be doing well.
Okay. Could we potentially?
All right, again, is this all this fucker's doing? Okay, wait. Okay, hold on.
Have someone from inside of the cell block go into his cell and kill him.
Yes, because here's how it works, shithead. If nobody came in from the outside and killed him, and the premise of somebody killed him has to work for you, then it has to be somebody from inside, unless he was ghost choked. Yeah. So there you go.
That's what we asked Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, on the program. And what he said was...
Sorry, who, what? You asked who? You asked who what?
Inside of the cell block, go into his cell and kill him. That's what we asked Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, on the program.
Whoa, lawyer? They were buddies.
And what he said was, yeah, that's what I think happened. Because the entire internet was pretty shocked when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said, no, he definitely killed himself in the prison cell. And you're saying that you believe that this was possible. You have been a skeptic about the official Epstein story for a long time.
Have been. I'm not a skeptic about the fact that he didn't do it alone. He could not have simply killed himself alone. If he killed himself, it was with the assistance of some guards. And some guards have been disciplined for turning off their videos and for other actions that allowed him to kill himself. But it wouldn't surprise me if somebody managed to get into the prison and kill him, because I don't understand what his motive would have been. He could have killed himself at any time. And if he...
Right. If he could kill himself at any time, why not then?
Going to be let out on bail then why would he kill himself? So I've
because somebody was going to murder him the second he stepped out on the street, and it wouldn't be pretty. That people were threatening to throw him in a van and kill him with a potato peeler and a cinder block, like I would.
Had my doubts, my questions, but it certainly.
What is this situation? Does Benny always wear the same shirt and it overlaps, or was this the same day, or is he just playing loops from his own fucking show?
Plausible that he may have killed himself.
Dershowitz would go on in our program to say that it makes a lot of sense that someone from the inside killed him.
Well, yeah, if nobody... Okay, fuck this. Anyways, you guys get the point. This is just the lazier of the rest of them. But in the meantime, Alex Jones, where is it? Was on Bannon's War Room because he wants to get some of that sweet, sweet MyPillow money. By the way, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Dershowitz killed him. Right. Dershowitz couldn't fucking squeeze a lemon, much less choke someone to death. But I'm sure he could make some phone calls. But anyways, FBI tried to cover up the investigation. Jones on Patel and Bongholio comments on Epstein's death.
Healthcare should be simple, not a constant battle with red tape,
Holy
restrictions,
shit.
and shortages, right? You shouldn't have to jump through hoops to get the medications you need.
They're just selling drugs on Rumble now.
This is Howie Carr.
This is Howie. And I'm here getting my ivermectin anal suppositories.
You know what, Maria? Cash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single.
Yeah.
Keep digging, but this thing's a long way from over. Alex Jones joins me. We've got a lot to go through today, Alex, and I want your thoughts on kind of where we stand. But if you look at President Trump's trying to end.
God damn it! Like, Alex looks like he's fucking melting. It looks like if Steve Bannon was a burn victim.
Genetic part of the Third World War, right? And he, from Russian rapprochement to the situation in Ukraine, which is part of that, to the Israel wants to bomb the Persians like tomorrow night.
Israel wants to bomb the Persians like tomorrow night because they want to destroy the mullahs' control over them. The Persians that he's talking about are the Iranians that were taken over by the Islamic Arab group that took over the country. So those aren't the Persians. They're literally being, you could argue, Persia, the Iran that you're talking about beforehand, has been colonized by Islamist jihadis. But Israel's going to bomb the fucking Persians. Yeah, it's leftover from fucking 3,000 years ago.
President Trump's trying to lay hands on all that.
Lay hands on all this. Yeah, he's trying to grab world peace by the pussy.
The big beautiful bill has the $170 billion in it, I think, for $150 billion to deport the 13 million illegal aliens here, that the courts are forcing us into a constitutional crisis, of which we're hurtling towards. And then if you look in the middle of what
why? We only have a constitutional crisis if they say something and he disobeys. You can't find another way to do it. It's a financial cost that you're talking about, not a constitutional one, unless he breaks the law.
Redoing all the commercial relationships in the world and how the budget is and how it's going to be financed, all of it. And of course, the bond market's not exactly high-fiving us right now, but we're going to work through all this.
Yeah, we'll work through it. I mean, poor people are fucked, but we'll work through it.
One aspect that's continued to concern me, and now you've got this whole Biden situation, is that whole other thing of taking down the administrative state, which DOGE started, right? Although the Congress
and failed miserably at
still not codified the cuts of the waste, fraud, and abuse. But even more importantly, it's taking on the deep state. Now, two close friends of yours and mine, and colleagues and people that we respect and pushed hard.
Oh, okay. Patel and Bongholio. I thought they were going to be like, we've been getting calls from inside the house
for this job. Dan Bongino and Cash Patel, two of the best.
No one can argue that they're even good at their job, much less the best of the best. Get the fuck out of here. It's insulting to everybody who's actually worked at the FBI their whole goddamn life.
I couldn't understand when I saw that until I read your text and it said it looked like a hostage video. And I go, Alex Jones nailed it again. That's exactly what it is. In fact,
yeah, but Trump is the only person that could take them hostage.
Went back to make sure that Dan and Cash were not blinking their eyes, and I missed the Morse code. What's going on, brother? You've got a better. You've been working this beat for a long time. What is your
the bullshit beat
assessment right now of how? Because I tell you, when they steal it in 28, and they're going to try to steal it in 28.
No. They know the Democrats are going to win in 28 because he knows that Trump is shitting the bed. So he's selling this theft idea ahead of time. Same thing with, watch this around the midterms as well.
Everybody's going to prison unless this deep state's taken apart.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
These people are vicious. Where do you think we stand?
Yeah, they're vicious, but they picked some rando fuckwad to shoot at Trump in Butler and couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. Ended up clipping a piece of glass and killing a bystander.
Now, on coming up on Memorial Day weekend, 4 or 5 months into the second term here, sir.
On the broad strokes of policy,
God damn it. This is what happens when people let Alex Jones on a show he thinks is real.
The trade war, ending our long...
Basically, I'm one of the founding fatheads.
Surrender to the global...
Oh, yeah, by the way, we've had some... before I get into this dipshit, because I'm going long anyways, thank you, trolls, for showing up. We had a bunch of trolls tonight, and, you know, they always tend to leave early when I start covering the Epstein stuff, so since there was so much of it because of these dumbasses, they couldn't really avoid it, so I really appreciate them being here, especially the ones that wrote things in the chat, because, again, really boosts our reach in a way that, nobody else really can. Our regular viewers, this shows up right along all the normal stuff they watch. You know, our dear friends, Boston Brian and Beasley and the Midas Touch guys and stuff. If I show up in their feed, that makes sense. People may watch it or they may not if they like my saucy language. But when it drops into your feed, maggots, when the trolls, when it gets in your feed and it shows up in the person who watched this also watched this, the line, which you can't actually affect. It just does it automatically. That's because of you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And they do show up for the gay song. They're big fans of it, and I can't blame them. It's catchy.
System effectively getting us out of the World Trade Organization, taking our power back, really starting to wind down these planetary wars that threaten our very existence on...
Sorry, what planetary war is he winding down? He's literally greenlighting Israel bombing Iran.
Bring the border, on getting trillions of dollars of investment to come in, on relaunching love of our country, on stopping the globalist demoralization of the population.
Yeah, I was being so demoralized by this idea that we're all in this together, we all breathe the same air, and that we should be sharing in the cleaning up of the air and the water. I mean, it's so fucking demoralizing. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put that on you right. It's so fucking demoralizing. You guys want to see his face? I don't have to, but
when it comes to yesterday with the South African racist president who claims he doesn't know anything about targeting white farmers or killing or protecting their land, and then just showing it all in his face. I mean, this is a masterclass in how
in being an asshole
to smash the gaslighters. But when it comes to the
yes, smashing the gaslighters, except for this whole fucking Bongholio thing.
Structure and the bureaucracy and the permanent state, I would give Trump a C-, but that's because...
Ooh, same as peanut butter dickhead. Really? You're dovetailing behind them?
How dug in it is and how hard these people are fighting back.
Well, no. You don't give him a C- because of how hard it is to do the job. You give him an A for what he's done so far because it's fucking impossible. Right? If you're saying, oh my God, he had no idea how deep they were embedded in there, the deep state is deeper than even the deep undercover, that he didn't know this and now he's having a hard time. You give him an A for just what he's managed to do. If it's that hard and it's not his fault, you give him a C- if he's doing an average fucking job, if he's doing a below average job with a gig that's seemingly easy.
Arrogant they are, but also because it's an existential threat for them if we continue to win. So we're winning, but in the first 123 days or so, 24.
Yeah, you're winning, totally. That's why inflation's at 2.8%. Fucking winning.
You see that massive momentum starting to slow in some areas, and
Really? The massive momentum is starting to slow. Well, then it's not momentum, because literally the definition of momentum is an increasing speed. If it starts to slow, I don't know. What's the word Trump used for it? I think it's not momentum. It's
Michigan gave us Motang.
That's what it was. Motang, sure.
Very, very concerning. And we see Moody's trying to lower the U.S. credit rating and then trying to lower U.S. bank credit rating because the globalists are so desperate to stop Trump's incredible so far victories.
They're trying to stop his incredible victories at destroying the American economy, which is the goal.
The planet to realign with us. It's just not about trade. Obviously, it's about alliances, ending the neoliberal globalist order.
And that whole thing where countries got along and didn't fight, and go back to the kind of gladiator asshole monarchical fighting that was great, that made the Dark Ages great.
That'll never get back into power again. But in pockets around the world, like here in the U.S., if they're able to at least get control of the executive branch again, they are going to not just come for Steve Bannon and Donald Trump and his family and Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. They're going to come for the entire country, as they've said they would.
No. I think they'll just go after cringy fucks like you. I don't. If you're arresting everybody, nobody's arrested. Like, how big is this prison going to be, dum-dum?
And as they were going to do, they were able to put Kamala in. So this is really an existential threat, as you said. And I really like Dan Bongino. I really like Kash Patel.
Kash? Ew. I didn't realize it was pronounced like that. Kash. Oh, it's Kash. Kash Patel. Well, I'll be in the drawing room playing on the grand piano with Kash.
Recent statements that, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, when it would take an hour to go over the evidence. Obviously, he didn't. It's ridiculous. Neck broken 3 times. That's the coroner. And all the rest of it.
Well, in 3 places, not 3 times. It wasn't like he kept breaking his fucking neck. It's like, this dude, we got to take all the edges off of everything. He keeps tripping, falling, and breaking his hyoid bone.
Turned off on and on and on. And then to add insult to injury, we've seen all the evidence from Butler and Crooks, and it's open and shut. Nothing else happened here. Bare minimum Secret Service stand down. The FBI trying to cover up the investigation until Kash and
Kash. Ew, Kash. Well, who's gotten to Kash? Huh? Who is actually... Someone's been fooling around and telling Kash what to say, don't you know? Yes. Someone's been marionetting Kash, poor fellow. Oh, dear. Oh, not Kash. Oh, if it can happen to Kash, it can happen to all of us. Ew. Oh, Kash Patel.
Bongino got in, and then there's so many facets to...
Excuse me, it's pronounced Bongholio.
I've interviewed the private investigators that have been on the ground, very respected, I've known for decades. Like,
yeah, the private investigators have been on the ground. They haven't been in the prison or at the, they haven't seen the corpse, and, they haven't really seen all the details or whatever, but they read all the newspapers I have, all the ones I spread out on my desk, and fuck, this hurts my throat just pretending to be this rancid fuck.
Hagman, where they got threatened on the ground by FBI to get out of here when they were there for months. So we know the whole background of Crooks and his house being basically completely clean, no utensils, nothing.
They took all of his utensils? Son of a bitch.
Being at this law enforcement training center.
Is there a system by which his handlers were getting messages paid to him on silverware? Like, just, tell him fork, spoon, fork on the counter if it's a go, and butter knife, fork if he needs more time. What the fuck does fork, spoon, knife mean? Oh, he's having breakfast. Never mind. Sorry, my bad.
With the geolocation being around the FBI building, he's on top of the building taking the shot for 10 minutes with people saying, shooter.
He was not up there for 10 minutes. Thanks, Groove. It hurts.
Shooter. Nothing being done. You got Bongino for months and months and months in July, rightfully saying this is a cover-up, and then 180, and then the body language. Which almost.
Yeah. How do you not look at his body? That's the thing. Body, body, wanna feel, wanna watch his body, body. All right.
Makes it endearing when they're being deceptive, and we all know they are.
Yeah, that was the code to get out, MMCN. Fork, fork, fork. Okay, it's on. Go for it. He's using the drone. It's knife, knife, fork, knife, shrimp, fork, chopstick. One chopstick. What the fuck is one chopstick? Oh, that's a pencil. Never mind. We misread it.
And they look like, in fact, I was going to say that, like in the Korean War or in the Vietnam War conflicts, when they would shoot down our fighter pilots or fighter bombers, and then...
Oh, you mean like John McCain, the guy that Donald Trump said wasn't a hero? Fuck you.
Famous cases of them doing Morse code when they'd been tortured and, forced to say horrible things about America and their mission. They were Morse coding torture, torture, torture. Younger generations won't know what Steve was talking about, but I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah, because we don't teach real American history. Shrimp fork, shrimp fork.
And so that's where we are. And so I don't want to cry foul on these guys. I'm a big booster of the administration. I'm giving them time. You can always get clicks if you sit there and criticize things. A lot of folks do that.
We've seen in the Biden situation, you've seen the Praetorian Guard where they had this information in 2019 on the laptop from hell. We had Rudy on here. I was on the laptop from hell team that.
You've never seen the laptop. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have a hard drive called laptop that Rudy Giuliani personally put child porn on and passed it around, which is a crime. Please go on.
They had it. Ray and Barr had it in November 19. They wanted Biden. That's why they protect him. You've done more than anybody to describe the elements of DOD, CIA, DNI, Department of Justice, FBI,
TNT, PBD, DOGE, Snoop to the 00.
Elements of DHS and HHS have
and HMS
formed a cabal of a Praetorian Guard of a deep state.
You should say Praetorian Guard again. It sounds really cool. It sounds like you know something that you don't when you say Praetorian Guard. You know what I mean? I love words that give you the illusion of education. It's so tight.
Yes.
Yeah. FDT, right?
No, it's categorical. To the degree it's C-. President Trump can't do everything, right? Do we need a special prosecutor? What is Alex Jones's recommendation to take down the deep state?
Yeah, how do we do this? Take down the deep state since they've already got Cash Patel. They've already got Bongholio. Trump is fucking partying with the Saudis again and building, and getting close to them. And they were behind 9/11. So how do you, you should be an expert at this. He's your boy. How does it work?
We have only a couple of years to do it, and they're dug in because they run the most powerful apparatus in mankind's history, sir.
Sir. Sorry, you're saying that Trump doesn't run shit, is what you're saying. Agreed. Okay.
Well, remember the FBI head in New York that they made resign when he had the Epstein files, when Kosh did, raid him a day after they were.
Kosh, ew, Kosh. Seriously, his voice hurts to listen to.
To release him. He said, we're dug in. We're in a war. We're Marines fighting Trump. I mean.
Yeah. And then they went, white flag. We give in. I give up. He killed himself. This is all bullshit. Stop bothering me. Stop tweeting shit at me. I don't know. I'm working. I have 10 things on my desk and they're all top 10 things that I've got to deal with. This is a lot of work. I wasn't expecting work. I was expecting to go to a bunch of UFC fucking games with Cash and they've got me I've got to do a budget. Right.
They need to indict that guy. I mean, that is serious. And I know they got the report coming out on Afghanistan and that withdrawal. We need to get that commission and court martials going.
Yeah, it's going to totally happen. Yeah. How about a court martial for anybody who ran and didn't get us out, but they ran on getting us out, like Donald Trump?
Of a million others. It's all cut and dry. We need prosecutions now, and you're the expert on that. We need those mechanisms now.
Oh, you can't pass the buck back to him, motherfucker. He's asking you how you take care of the deep state. Well, the deep state's secretly running every fucking thing, and you're going to have tribunals and fucking trials and stuff. You think if they're not going to let this shit get through, and they're going to say Epstein killed himself, and you don't believe it, what the fuck makes you think they're going to go after the military or the Pentagon over Afghanistan, you fucking tool?
And we have to start going after these people. Now, we're starting to see corrupt Congress people arrested. We're starting to see corrupt judges that hide illegal alien gangbangers being arrested. And we're seeing.
No, we're not starting to see anything. You're seeing little pot shots here and there. None of it means anything. You fucking tit.
Tom Homan scale up and accelerate the amount of deportation. So overall,
well, he yells about it more.
Trump an A+, but you're absolutely right. He was elected the captain of the ship, as Elon Musk said, as you've said, but he has about half the crew that is mutinous. I mean, half of them wouldn't even respond to the DOGE email saying, what's 5 things you did last week and who is your boss?
Well, Cash told them not to reply. You know that, right? Cash told them to blow off that whole thing. So is he with the deep state?
So Trump has to crack the whip with all of these people. You know, Trump
yummy
wants to know what happened in Butler. Trump wants to know what happened in Mar-a-Lago with the shooter.
No, he doesn't. He said it's over. He just told Brett Baer there was no there, that the guy worked alone. There was no big deal.
But notice the FBI was...
whatever, I can't say your name that fast. What congressman was arrested? It was a congresswoman. It was one of the people who went to the, in New Jersey. They arrested her for shoving an ICE agent was the threat. But let's see. Is it Trump? Hold on. Since I'm hanging out, you guys are awesome. Trump, Brett, Baer... shooter Butler, something like that. Yeah, this is it. Hold on, let me pop this open. Here you go.
Apologized and said he doesn't.
Well, he
wasn't
apologized
calling
for.
Oh no, I think it's genetics. Abu Dhabi, the UAE, with President Donald J. Trump. Putin doesn't go to.
Jesus Christ, is everything just a gaudy fucking golden mess? It all looks like somebody trying to shit Bitcoin.
Yeah. You thought about going if he was going.
Well, I had a problem. I mean, I consider the Middle East very important.
In terms of money.
And I had a problem because Thursday I was going to be UAE, okay? And which is where I am now. We're going to be leaving in a few hours and have another couple of stops. It's a pretty grueling schedule. A lot of people said, how the hell do you do it?
By the way, how the hell do you do it?
I don't know. I think it's genetics. It's good.
Adderall and Ambien.
Genetics. I had
and benzos.
My mother was very strong, and I had a mother who was very strong. They lived to ripe old ages, and
yeah, they got dementia right about the age you are now.
Great people, and it's meeting after meeting. And not only that, it's speech after speech. It's
you could tell he's griping about it.
Like big ones. Like last night, if you look, he got up and made a beautiful speech. Mohammed, he got up and made a beautiful speech. I wasn't told I even had a speech to make. So I had to make a speech off the cuff. Do you think Biden could do that? I don't think so. Actually, it was pretty good.
Also bullshit. He had a speech in there. He just forgot he was supposed to give a speech. This isn't about off the fucking cuff.
Speech, so I looked at it. It was pretty good. I didn't know I was doing it. So, but you know, it's meeting after meeting.
Like a well-oiled machine that came with directions that said, do not add oil. We miss Harry Anderson.
The highest level people. These are great people. They love us again. They were not feeling love at all. They were going to China. They're not going to China anymore.
You were going to go to Turkey.
That's because China, their economy's slowing down and they're not buying oil.
Doesn't show. Zelensky shows.
What do you think? No, I was never scheduled to go.
No, you weren't scheduled, but you were talking about maybe you would go if it all came together.
But I tell you what.
So what do you think?
I would not have wanted to disappoint UAE because that was my
big
stop.
deal.
And if I went to Turkey, I couldn't go here, and it would have been.
Why not? You're the president. You can't add a stop? What the fuck are you talking about?
Very hard for me to say I'm not doing it.
On the substance, what do you think's going through Putin's mind? You said get to the table. You said stop bombing. He hasn't stopped bombing. He's not at the table.
I know what's going through his mind. Trump is a big joke. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and this dipshit will never turn on me because of what I have on him. I'm just floating that out there, you know.
And what do you think is
happening? Well, he is at the table, and he wanted the.
No, he isn't. He didn't show up. That's the point.
Meeting.
Oh, sorry.
And I always felt.
My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. You're right. It's pretty brutal.
There can't be a meeting without me because I don't think a deal is going to get through. There's a lot of hatred on both sides. I have a very good relationship with Putin. I think we'll make a deal. We have to get together, and I think we'll probably schedule it because I'm tired of having other people go and meet and everything else. And with that being said, I think Steve Witkoff has done an incredible job. But it's a very tough job, and it's a job that, because of position, that I think I'm the only one that's going to be able to do that one. And I think we'll do it fast, too. I think Putin is tired of this whole thing.
Really? Tired of losing or tired of winning? He's tired of winning. He's got to be tired of winning. Winning the death of, whatever, 8,000 of his soldiers a week.
He's not looking good, and he wants to look good. Don't forget, this was supposed to end in 1 week.
Right, because you were supposed to be president when they did this, because that's what they had been strategizing. They were building up their war chest all during your presidency, knowing that you would let them get away with it. And then Biden teabagged this motherfucker.
If he didn't get stuck in the mud with his army tanks all over the place, they would have been in Kiev in about 5 hours.
He was so excited about the Afghan withdrawal that he forgot when is the best time to drive your tanks across marshland.
And who gave the javelins? Do you remember who gave the javelins? Was it Barack Hussein Obama? No, it was Donald Trump gave the javelins.
Who was president when Obama was in? Was it the same guy? No, it was a Russian sock puppet named Yanukovych who fled after Euromaidan and lives, as far as we know, comfortably in Russia now. He might also be dead. Nobody gives a shit.
I think your perception of it has changed. Is Putin now the obstacle to peace in your mind?
Look, I had a real rough session with Zelensky because I didn't like what he said. And he was not making it easy. And I always said he doesn't have the cards. And he doesn't have the cards. And, I'm being honest. He doesn't have the cards. You're dealing with a massive army.
Yeah, but all of Europe has got his back, even without us. And he's still kicking Russia's ass with a skeleton crew.
And you're dealing with some...
Yes, I'm having a marathon, Stargal. I got to drive to L.A. tonight, and I'm just hanging out with you guys. It's a good... I'm having fun. Sorry to stick around. I don't have to bump to anybody, so I figured, hey.
That's brave, that had great equipment.
But I haven't seen you get personal. On True Social, you said, Vladimir, stop. He hasn't stopped. And you had once said that maybe you need to...
I'm just enjoying watching Brett Baer push him on this shit.
Look at other things like sanctions or banking.
Okay, so...
because maybe they need to be pressured in...
I will end with some kitties, I promise, if you hang in there. If I get 10 subscribers... And some super chats now. I will.
And I'll be doing that if
do you think that it's
I don't want to see 5,000 people. Outside of the money, which is a big deal, but the money is the money. The money we can make up. I can make up the money on one trip like this, okay? I mean...
Well, then why were you ever fucking worried about it?
Think of it. This trip, I made 12 times the money that we're talking about. I made that money in a few days. I've always been good with money.
But it's not about the money. It's about pressuring Putin, right? I mean,
no. But I've always been good with money. I make money. I made in 4 days. I made 12 times what we spent in Ukraine. So the money is the money. What bothered me, I hated to see the way it was, excuse me, pissed away. I hated to see that checks were sent for $60 billion every time.
Yeah, there was never a check written for $60 billion. This is just dumb.
Zelensky, I think he's the greatest salesman in the world. Far better than me. Zelensky.
Yeah, that's easy, though.
He comes to Washington. He walks out with $100 billion every time.
Because the cause was worthwhile. He doesn't have to be a good salesman. The product sells itself. You might be familiar with that phrase.
He came $100 billion. Now his abilities were shrinking because the last time I only got $60 billion. But Congress is very upset about it. They're saying, where is all this money going?
And I'm focused on
And we sent checks. We don't only send we sent just checks. We sent just cash.
God, we sent just checks and stuff, and I want some of that. What the checks? We sent checks.
Where is it? The Europeans have been very badly hurt.
Edit.
By this. They spent a lot of money also. They spent $100 billion. We spent $350. It shouldn't be that. It should have been the other way around.
Also not true, and then 90% of it was spent in the United States.
But are you going to put the
they have
screws
not
to
been
Putin?
treated. Wait, they have not been treated right by anybody. This is a war that they're, spending a lot of money on. We've been treated worse than them because we had a very stupid person as a president. And if I can solve that problem, and it's a bad problem, because I will tell you, Putin, it was the apple of his eye. He never would have done it if I were president. Never, ever would have done it.
Well, then why isn't he leaving now that you are? The simple thing is like, oh shit, Trump's back, get the fuck out. Like if he wouldn't have done this with you as president, why the ever-loving shit? Why wouldn't he just leave now? Why wouldn't he just panic and run for the exits?
I think most people, actually even Democrats say that it wouldn't have happened.
Nope. If they say that, they're fucking morons. I don't know any Democrats who say that, but they're idiots if they do. This is just dumb. They were obviously planning it. He was building a war chest. They were moving closer and closer. They were testing the boundaries, and then they were going to go when they could. It looked like they'd done it like 3 times. But as soon as they started bringing in the fucking medical vehicles, they knew it was a go. They were planning on doing this. They knew Trump would allow it.
But we inherited a mess. Okay, I think it's going to get solved, but. You know that Putin wanted the whole thing. He didn't want a piece. He didn't want a chunk. He wanted the whole thing. Somebody said, "Well, what do we get out of it in terms of, let's say, Ukraine?"
Right.
You know what they get out of it? A large portion of the country.
It's just Senator Lindsey Graham has 70.
Honestly, does anybody know what the fuck that meant? We mean Russia?
Co-sponsors on this bill to sanction Russian oil and anybody who buys Russian oil. He's making the pitch for the bill saying, why should China get the benefit of cheap oil from Russia as Putin continues the war? At some point, there has to be...
Yeah, you could sell a lot more American oil if you don't let them buy Russian oil.
...on Putin. And
he eventually gets to the shooters in this, I think.
Assume that you've talked about that.
Nobody uses leverage better than me. Look what I did to Iran.
I had ribs last night. That's why I'm doing this. I had ribs. What's your name? Sorry.
So it's changing.
It's not changing. I always had that. I will use that if I have to. I'd rather not use that. By the way, that's a big deal. I just put it on Venezuela. It's secondary sanctions, it's called. And I just did it with Venezuela.
And you could do it with Iran, too.
I just did it with Iran. It's basically if you buy oil from Iran, you can't do business with the United States. And you see the ships just leaving that port.
Really? So that seems like it would work with Russia then too, wouldn't it?
In Venezuela, it was amazing. Chinese
why not
ships.
do it with Russia?
You had to see well, I will if I do. Honestly, I will. If we're not going to make a deal, we're going to see whether or not this is Turkey time. This is now we're talking Turkey.
We are talking Turkey. Turkey, yeah, I think it's pronounced because they went to Turkey. So there was some line about they're going to Turkey to talk Turkey about this. And so he just got that stuck in his fucking empty dome.
We'll see what happens. That would be crushing for Russia because they're having a hard time now with the economy. Oil prices are low,
It would change the dynamic.
Okay, so he's incompetent. He doesn't want to see the war. Because everything he said was wrong. The way he talked about Putin, the way he said the threats. I mean, it's just wrong. But here's what was really wrong: he let oil go from $65 to $100.
Oh my God! Jesus Christ, man! You literally went and met with Russia and the OPEC countries, mainly Saudi Arabia, to get them to raise the price of oil.
Putin was making a fortune. Now I have oil down.
Also, no, he wasn't. They weren't. The nest egg that they built for this war chest they built up was already being built up till COVID, and then when COVID hit, oil went to negative $32 a barrel. I'm not doing a live show tonight. I'm doing I am live right now, but my stand-up's tomorrow night. Yes, hi. How are you? Good to see you. Hanging out.
Nobody's making a fortune anymore, and it's going to go down further because I'm drill, baby drill,
Yeah, you are drill, baby drill. No, you're not. No, you're not. The price of oil is going down is because there's a glut, because they were artificially holding back production, and the countries in OPEC Plus can't do that long because it's their only fucking product, right? It was negative 36, DB Golding. Negative. Yeah, I'm at Flappers tomorrow night. If you're in the general Burbank area, please come down and see a show.
Closed up everything, and then he opened it. You know what people don't realize? They said, "Oh no, he closed it up, and it drove oil through the roof." And then he said,
Also, he didn't close up fucking anything. Oil production went up the entire time Biden was in office, and it never dropped. Well, except in the beginning when it was related to COVID, where it had already gone down. All it did was recover the entire time he was fucking in office.
"Back to Trump,
So
go back to
stupid.
Trump." In other words, go back to what I was doing. And he didn't, but they did to a large extent. He didn't go all the way.
This is just lazy, stupid.
I would have been double that by that time, but he didn't go all the way. And what happened? He forced the prices up, the oil prices up.
No, he didn't. Recovering from COVID drove the oil prices up.
And that Putin made a fortune during that period of time.
Yeah. Did you see this thing with the former FBI director, James Comey?
I did. I just saw it on the news.
You know, he puts up this post showing.
Also, by the way, 86 was a casino code to get somebody out who's cheating at the table. Doesn't mean kill them. 86ing someone is not assassination. 86 is get him the fuck out of here, for the record.
4647 in the sand, saying cool shell formation on a beach walk. Your director of national intelligence was asked about it last night, and she said this.
Whatever James Comey intent, he and people like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic.
This is great, Tulsi, by the way. This is really good for you. Lucky that people can miss the fact that you've been shitting the bed with the intel right now. It's good. I can see why you would jump on Jesse Waters' show and try to make a big noise out of this. A fucking Instagram post while you're letting leaks all over the place in your department. Your fucking second in charge was responsible for getting Jeffrey Goldberg on that chat. Literally the guy plugging people into that chat. He was the guy who is directly responsible for why Jeffrey Goldberg is in that chat. This is a great way to divert from that for a couple of seconds.
Rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats.
It's not a direct threat. Yeah, that's not a direct threat. And 86 means get him the fuck out of here. It doesn't mean kill him.
The President of the United States essentially issuing a call to assassinate him must be held accountable under the law.
Yeah, and that's why he'll be fine, because it's not a call to assassinate.
Believe Comey should be in jail.
Yeah, it also means somebody's cut off at the bar. They use it at casinos. That's where it came from.
I do.
Do you?
So I saw that this morning. You know, there's a big time gap.
There is a big time gap between when you read something and when you understand what you've read.
And he knew exactly what that meant. A child knows.
Yes, children who gamble anyway.
That meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so.
All right. Originated in the 1930s. The slang term 86 means to remove something or someone, has a long history, particularly in the restaurant and bar industries, and is believed to have originated in the 1930s. Several theories exist regarding its, let me blow this up a little bit so we can see it. Exact origins, but was most likely accepted, involves Prohibition area speakeasies like Chumley's in New York, located at 86 Bedford Street. During Prohibition, bars like Chumley's, warned of impending raids, would use the back door on 86 Bedford Street for patrons to escape. While police entered through another entrance, the bartender would tell the patrons to 86 to leave, to beat feet, get the fuck out of there. In the 30s, restaurant staff used code like 86 to indicate that a menu item was sold out or no longer available. Some believe 86 was part of a broader soda counterculture, where other numbers represented different actions or items. The term is also thought to be rhyming for nix, meaning to cancel or eliminate. 86, nix, whatever. Okay, removing a customer, removing an item, and other meanings. That's the primary root of it. Used by soda jerks, that's where the phrase came from. Used in restaurants to 86 people, and there was also this idea that it came from 86 Bedford Street in New York City. So a child knows this, I suppose, but there you go. So no, it does not mean assassinate. It means to get the fuck out. Oh, by the way.
Because people like me.
Okay, shut the fuck up. It could also mean, by the way, it could be a message directly to Trump. 8647. 47, get the fuck out. So there you go.
What's happening with our country? Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he wasn't calling for violence. But
look, he's a very bad.
What do you want to see happen? What do you want to see happen?
I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. I have Cash, I have Pam, I have.
I don't want to do it. My lawyers will tell me if I can bring back somebody in. I don't have the power to do that. Pam, I'll hand everything off. So basically, what you're seeing me do is pass the buck on fucking everything.
People. And I'm going to let them, because if I tell you something, they'll say, oh, I'm not going to get involved. But I will say this, I think it's a terrible thing. And when you add his history to that, if he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand if there was a leniency. But I'm going to let them make that decision. But he knew exactly what it said.
It's a dangerous time. I see security around here. It's very tight. You're in the Middle East.
Yeah, it would be it's kind of an important place to have security. Yeah.
2 assassination attempts. One, obviously, where you got hit by that bullet in Butler. There's a lot of
piece of glass from the teleprompter.
Frustration that we still don't know about that shooter in Butler.
Yeah, it's weird. So this gets to the point we were talking about.
And we don't know about his communications.
Yeah, we don't know what is at the bottom of that. You know, the deep state clearly has Cash Patel and Dan Bongino.
We get stonewalled all the time asking questions about it.
Yeah, we're trying to get the answer. What is this? What's the story? You're the guy. Don't you want to know?
Is there frustration on your part? Will we get transparency? Will we know the bottom line story?
It's very interesting because we have great people.
Great people. Bongino. Kosh. Ew, Kosh.
I think Pam is incredible. I think
she's fantastic. She does all the things, the crying and the yelling and the not releasing the Epstein documents. She's fantastic.
She's incredible. And they're doing a great job. They're being recognized as doing a great job.
No, this is that, like, we're getting great reviews idea.
I was given an explanation early on, sort of a little bit pre them. And I thought it was strange. The one guy had 18 cell phones. Okay. I have a lot of cell phones, but I have like 2. I call that a lot. And I think I probably make more calls than him. It's like, that's all I do. And I had to, why does somebody...
6, by the way, not 18, but whatever.
18. Another one, the first one from Butler, he had 3 apps, very unusual apps, and 2 of them were foreign apps.
Oh, you mean like Telegram and Signal?
Or
actually, Signal's American. Telegram and what was the other one? There's another like Telegram-like app. It's the one from Romania. Anyways, Patel and those guys all use it.
Then he ends up with a white shoe lawyer, meaning a super lawyer from Pittsburgh, the big city. And they live outside of Butler in a little place. Where did they get this lawyer that would represent IBM and would represent ExxonMobil?
But you're the president. Can't you find out?
No.
Yeah, can't you find out? Also, he's dead.
I know.
Do you, though?
I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is. We have...
Yeah, I don't have time to go figure things out.
Deep-seated craziness in this country. And I'm relying on my people. And so far...
Right. And so my people have told me this.
And they're good. But so far and in this case it's Secret Service, they tell me it's fine.
That's what they told him. Yeah, the guy who shot you, who he blew his brains out on the rooftop in Butler, it's fine. That's what they told him. Hey, what happened to that guy that tried to kill me? And was there anything? It's fine. Oh, it's fine. All right, that's what they said. They told me it's fine. You guys would accept that, right? Chat room. If somebody tried to kill you, and the cops killed that person, you're like, I don't know. I think that guy was yelling something about he had friends who were going to help him, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's just fine. Yeah, that's exactly what the fuck. Listen to this.
Service. They tell me it's fine. But it's a little hard to believe, to be honest with you, okay? It's a little bit hard to believe as I get that throbbing feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
I get a little throbbing feeling.
Well, if you find it...
What do you get, an ear chubby?
We'd love to know. We continue to ask.
I know. No, I
and a lot of
understand
people
what you're
ask
saying.
us.
It's a little bit strange. We have incredible people in there now, so can't blame
Well,
that.
you've been very generous with your time. I'll just wrap it up with this.
That's it. That's the whole, like, they were telling, he's telling the guy the truth. President's saying all this stuff about this. We're going to wrap this up with this thing. Thank you guys for sticking around.
Covering that up, according to the state police in Florida.
Hold on.
That is mutinous. I mean, half of them wouldn't even respond to the DOGE email saying, what's 5 things you did last week and who is your boss? And
who's your boss? Fuck. I sent it to my boss, but I guess I was wrong.
So Trump has to crack the whip with all of these people. You know, Trump wants to know what happened in Butler. Trump.
What is RFK Jr.
Also,
putting in his drink?
Nope.
That mysterious
methylene blue.
It's called methylene blue.
Yeah.
Wants to know what happened in Mar-a-Lago with the shooter, but notice the FBI was covering that up, according to the state police in Florida. Now it seems to be going on, and I've talked to some high-level prosecutors over the weekend, and asked,
do you? What did they put another grand jury together about you? It's fine. It's fine.
What they thought about all this, and they said, listen. We got to pick our battles, and certain issues that were run by professional crooks like Comey are so hard to penetrate and would take everything we've got. We're
bullshit. This is just fucking dumb. Bullshit. Oh man, fuck this. Yeah, it just, like, Comey's such a fucking mastermind, and Biden was such a fifth level, we can't even start. If we start down that road, it's going to take every resource we have. What fucking limit of resource do you think the House and the Senate are going to give you to go after people that tried to assassinate the president? Honestly, what the fuck? How much do you think this is going to cost to unravel, dumb fuck? This is ridiculous.
To hit the low level and mid level to make
the low level and the mid level
turn state's evidence very, very soon. I know you talk to a lot of high level sources with the president all the time.
Totally. Yeah. Total high level sources. Absolutely. Primo.
Talk to some of the top prosecutors and they said that's going on. They also reached out to me to say, we know about what happened to you. So not to write myself into the story, you've been persecuted more, but 3 days after Trump got in, I was sent by the FBI.
He wasn't persecuted. He stole money from maggots, literally flim-flammed Trump's biggest supporters, and Trump pardoned him for it. The only thing apparently Trump was mad about was that he didn't get a cut of this flim-flam. But he's obviously figured that out with his fucking meme coins.
Part of my file where Obama, right when Comey got in 2013, declared me a top national security threat. I put these documents out months ago. I got them like 3 weeks after Trump was in. I got a call. Hey, look in your PO box. It came from the FBI, and it.
They sent you paper copies. It was just like FBI direct, like general mail to Alex Jones, asshat court, Austin, Texas.
The Boston field office. So back to Mueller as well. Put him under national security threat, which is an ongoing, not just criminal investigation, but a full-on secret sanction operation of debanking, harassment, demonization, human intelligence.
Yeah, and little did they know, they didn't have to put all that work in. They just had to wait for you to shit on the parents of dead kids and tell them that their kids had never died and that they were crisis actors or some shit, and just like remutilate their kids' fucking memories every goddamn day for months and months and months until somebody fucking called you on it. If the FBI had only known that you were such a fucking scumbag, they never would have had to spend a dime on you because you did it to yourself, asshole. Like somebody fucking talked them into it.
Attempted infiltrators, lawsuits, deplatforming.
No. Attempted infiltrators. What, somebody in your staff coaxed you into shitting on dead kids? Fucking hell.
I was the beta test along with General Flynn and you
Beta, I'll agree on. Beta, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you that you're beta.
They've bragged about this on MSNBC. They've had their top lawyers that have engineered it all brag how once we get Jones, Bannon, and others, we're going to get Tucker Carlson, then we're going to get Trump.
Yeah, I remember that episode of Mad Al. It was fucking rocking. What?
And so now more of this has come out. Now, Comey's got his new book out, which they even admit the bad guy that must be put in prison, the talk show host, by the FBI is based on the evil Alex Jones. So they are obsessed with you and I, particularly, because we see right through them.
Or because Steve Bannon was one of the big players on January 6th and helped organize a bunch of it. And you torture the victims of violent crime for a fucking living.
Must have to be as intense as possible with the not just Trump and his
dude. This will be all over when you live in a fucking tent, and I mean broke, you dumbass. Oh God, this is frustrating. Now, chat room, I made a promise at the beginning of the night, and I know I went long, but I'm gonna see. Hold on, let me see if I can request something real quick. How'd it go, babe? Okay, this was a rare find because Maddie was laying down upstairs, and there she is. How's your Maddie girl? All the Summer's way upstairs with the kittens, so this is yeah. Maddie's so pretty. Maddie's very sweet. She has the weakest meow you've ever heard. It's pretty adorable. Hello. Such a good girl. Hello. How are you? She's a little clumsy. If she gets into the catnip, she will be twitchy and runs around seeing ghosts. She hallucinates. She's very much like our hippie girl. Yeah, this is Maddie. Maddie's a sweet girl. Hi. Yeah, she cuddles. If you get, like, if I'm ever, like, stuck or late to the show and I'm not doing something work related, it's because Maddie is laying on my lap or on my arm or something, and I feel terrible getting up because she's so sweet. She's very sweet. Orange, you've heard orange cats are special? Yes, Maddie is very special. She's also got, I don't know if you can see it, but her left eye, to you guys, you can't see it right now, but is darker than the other one. It's got like a ring around it. There she is. Hi. It's hard to see. Yeah. Hi, sweetheart. It's all right. That's a good girl. There we go. Yeah. Just a little girl. So there you go. We wanted a cat, and we got one. There she is. Just all wrapped up in a little ball. There she is. She's beautiful. And she doesn't shed as much as the other ones, which is funny. Like our short hair cats shed a lot more. Is it Girlfield? That's funny. Yeah. She's very pretty. She's a sweet girl. And she's got cute little toe beans, and she's very nice. So, yeah, and she's falling asleep in my arms, and now I can't turn off the show. Okay, I don't know what to do because she's so adorable. And, okay, let's see how we make this happen. Like, put this arm under here, pick this arm up. There we go. And then, hold on. I'm trying to do this. There she goes. She's just relaxing. And we'll go to this.